Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
Without Dan.
Without Dan. No
With
Dan this
Sean.
week.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, Dan's been secret agenting again.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what he's up to at the moment, but he forgot he was going.
Short notice.
No, he'd already booked it 2 months in advance.
Maybe that was just an easy
No.
way of him saying, I can't tell you.
No, I can't. He didn't know he was going because MI6 have only just told him.
So is MI6 his missus because she knew 2 months in advance?
She's just M.
She is.
Now you come to mention it.
He gives the game away about being a spy, given the fact that every time he leaves the room, there's like a little guitar lick that follows him.
I just thought he was in Wayne's World.
It's my one of my favourite sporting quotes ever. That even from a half sportsman was when
A half sportsman?
Yeah, someone asked Edge once like what he missed from being a professional wrestler, and he said, "I really miss walking into a room and music playing."
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, might as well talk F1.
Let's do that.
Why not?
So we'll start with the World Endurance Championship.
Yay!
Apparently Fernando Alonso has had a big test in Bahrain. Did about 100 laps in the Toyota, the LMP1,
Yeah.
which is the car for next season
Yeah.
because there's no other teams.
Well,
There's no other factory teams. There's a couple of private entries.
But there's
Yeah.
no LMP1 teams apart from Toyota.
Yeah, they're the only factory entry.
Well, that's fucked then, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So it's going to be which one of their cars wins the championship.
So what happened with Porsche? Because I know I should know all this, but
Everyone's going to Formula E.
right, because I just couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered reading it.
And Toyota have put way too much money into LMP1 to just ditch it and go to Formula E.
I think the
Yet.
FIA are paying them.
Yeah.
Well, this is clearly a great move for Fernando if he wants to get a quick Le Mans win under his belt. Isn't
Well,
it?
that's the idea, isn't it? Because Le Mans doesn't clash with any Formula 1 races this year. Next year, 2018.
Yeah.
Indy does, and of course with McLaren switching engine suppliers, doubt you'll put a Renault into Indy straight away.
Toyota, they're going to fix it, aren't they? I bet if Alonso signs for Toyota for the one race,
Yeah.
I think it'll be written into his contract that team favours his as a number one car.
Brendan, Fernando is faster than
Yeah.
you. Do you
Definitely.
understand?
Yeah, possibly. I think it is a little bit ironic, isn't it? Just as McLaren are ending their partnership with Honda, that Alonso goes to test for Toyota. It's just it's a final
Yes,
little.
I'm sure he wouldn't have been allowed to do that.
No,
with
of
Honda,
course
so-
not. Yeah, he wouldn't have been. No. This time last year, that's a big no.
Yes.
It's just a final twist of the knife, isn't it, from McLaren, and particularly Alonso. Well, I've just had a really successful test in a Toyota,
I did 100 laps without any explosions.
and I was 0.7 seconds off to be the fastest man. That's closer than I've been to anyone all year.
Except for when he was fastest at Indy for one lap.
Yeah.
Before his engine.
And Q1 in Silverstone.
Yes.
Oh,
That random.
yeah.
That was tyres.
Yes.
Tyre shenanigans.
Yeah. Is it dry enough? Don't care.
I did stick a crazy little bet on him to get pole, and I got awfully excited at that point.
Yeah, I've seen it when you get excited. It's not pleasant. That's why you had to learn decorating.
Slippery.
So, yeah, basically Alonso tested a Toyota LMP1 car, and he appears to be, as you'd expect an experienced motor racing driver, to be pretty successful so far in it.
Yeah.
With 100 laps under his belt.
Yeah, they've not released any of the times in comparison with anyone else that was testing.
Oh, they have.
Because
Oh,
he was
the-
0.7 seconds off,
It's all
wasn't
on,
he?
all on the WEC website, all the timings. I think he was car sharing with Buemi.
So that means my WEC app has broken down.
And was pretty comparable. I think there was less than a second between
You'd think
them. and he
Buemi
was-
would have the money to take his own car, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. You've got to go to the loo, I think, though, during World Endurance and shit like that.
okay.
You've got to have a break.
Yeah, when you get into your mid-30s, 6 hours without a pee break. And 24 hours. God knows how Hulkenberg did it.
But yeah, Toyota had two cars in the test, and there was one with Buemi. I think there was one with I can't remember who was in the other one now. I was reading this before and it has gone straight in one side and out the other. But no, the speed was fairly good.
Yeah, he was close in comparison, as you say, which is not surprising given Fernando Alonso's
Not really.
ability to adapt. I mean, he's adapted through so many formulas of Formula One that just going to a closed cockpit. Slightly more simpler version, should we say, is not going to be too much of a hassle for him.
As far as the closed cockpit goes, the LMP1 cars are probably the closest closed cockpit cars to a Formula One car.
Well, it's essentially a Formula One car with a closed cockpit and wheel arches, isn't it? And look, you got lights
And a windscreen wiper.
Yeah. Oh yes, sorry, I forgot about the windscreen wiper. Yeah, the motor to carry that must weigh at least
an
10.
ounce.
Yeah, 10 grams. I was going to say, but yeah, we'll go with an ounce. So yeah, quite positive outlook for Alonso doing Le Mans. He's doing the Daytona race, isn't he, in January for Zach Brown's racing team?
Yes, Nando, Lando, and I can't remember the third
other
one.
guy.
Nando, Lando, and Random.
Was there 3 of them? Is it Nando,
the
Lando,
third
and
one.
someone
Well,
else?
it's got to be 3 for a
Third one is.
24-hour race.
Oh, okay.
Because that's standard FIA rules.
Yeah.
That if it's over 6 hours, you've got to have 3.
Please tell me there's a documentary or a comedy series based around the fact that it's called Nando, Lando, and the other guy.
Well, I think it sounds like one of those 60s folk music trios, like Peter, Paul, and Mary, or Mary, Mungo, and Midge.
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Yeah.
It seems a bit of
Which is, of course, is Emerson Fittipaldi. Jonathan Palmer.
One of the other rookies testing was a Fittipaldi child.
Pietro Fittipaldi.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Emerson's grandson.
Yes.
Yeah, who Sean Kelly informs me is perhaps the nearest Brazilian to Formula One in real terms, and he's only 17.
Well, that's matter for another week, isn't it?
Yeah, for the future. We spoke
We'll
about...
see what happens in Australia next year.
Yeah, good point.
See what happens before we get there. Before we get to the race, you never know what'll happen.
Has he retired from retiring again?
Who knows?
He will do eventually.
What else have we got? Zandvoort, if we're talking about old things like Emerson Fittipaldi.
That seemed like unneedling harsh.
Needlessly.
If he's got a grandson, that kind of makes him old.
It does make him old.
Zandvoort hasn't held a Grand Prix since 1985.
This is true.
Was it 85? Was it the last
85
one?
was the last one. But they seem to think that they are not far off getting back on the F1 calendar.
Well, there was a thing, wasn't there, about a Dutch Grand Prix street race? Whether it was, I don't know whether it was going to be held in Amsterdam or Rotterdam or.
Then both cities said, not us.
Yeah, exactly. So where else are you going to hold it?
Oh, how about that big motor racing circuit that we've got?
Yeah, they do actually have one, Zandvoort.
Yeah, they do still hold bike racing there. World Superbikes has got around. MotoGP's been there in the last few years. Don't think it was there this season.
Yeah,
Was it
but
Assen this
let's
year?
not forget though
I was going to say they do Assen,
They
don't
do
they?
Assen.
Which is again another world famous racing circuit.
And now Aston are
in
allowed to use the circuit on
Yes,
Sundays.
they've given the church a lot of money.
not
haven't
sure
they?
Aston would be suitable for Formula One cars though, would it?
I don't know. It's very
incredibly short, isn't
and
it?
tight. It's narrow.
Yeah, it's
It is a bike circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And like Paul said, not allowed to race on Sundays. Or are they now?
They are now, because the church that stopped them doing it, they've given them a lot of money, and the church have gone.
Did the church own the circuit?
No, the church backed onto the circuit, so they kicked off at motorsport noise coming in during.
It's like why Brands Hatch is only allowed to have 10 Sunday race meetings a season, and Twickenham Stadium can't hold all that many matches
On a Sunday?
anytime.
Oh, right, okay.
Just people complaining about the noise. Yeah, if you're going to move near a big sporting arena or circuit, then surely you know what comes with it.
It's just like people a little bit more local to us who buy a house on the Isle of Man TT course and then complain that the roads are closed 4 weeks of the year.
Yeah, I've never understood the sense in that.
No.
But the situation with Zandvoort is it's at the moment it's FIA Grade 2, and they think that it will only take around about 10 million euros to upgrade it to Grade 1, which is enough for Formula 1.
And has Charlie Whiting been there lately?
Unofficially, he has. He has been there in the capacity of Charlie Whiting, not as Charlie Whiting from the FIA.
Because that's something you do, isn't it? Just as a casual trip, just go and have a look at a track that's not doing anything.
I don't know, unless he was there for a race meeting, perhaps. He was, I mean, if you're interested in motorsport, maybe, while I'm in Holland, I may as well go and catch the race at Zandvoort. And people are like, oh, he's here, therefore their Formula 1 must be coming back.
Can I just say it's something that I've done, because I once had a meeting in Northamptonshire, and we were driving past Silverstone, and I said to my colleague that I was going to the meeting with, should we get out and have a look? Yeah, we're at Silverstone. So we got out and had a look. So you do go to a motor racing circuit just to have a look at it.
Yeah.
I have done it. You do it.
Yeah, I've done it. I think I've done it. I'm sure I've done it.
What was on when you were at Silverstone, when you drove past?
It was a test day for the 98 season, when...
Formula 1 season?
Formula 1 season.
Oh, well, there you go.
When Williams were doing shakedown tests on the Mechachrome engines.
Oh, right, okay.
That went well.
Because we got carved up by a Mechachrome truck. It's the fastest anything that said Mechachrome on it has ever gone.
Yeah, rebadged Renault engines.
From 2 years before.
Yeah.
Or the year before.
And they say Formula 1's moved on.
Yeah. So what would we think to a Dutch Grand Prix coming back?
All orange for Max, let's be honest, because the Belgian
popular.
Grand Prix has basically become that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I would worry about the future of the Belgian Grand Prix if they did bring a race to Zandvoort.
I don't know. Belgium's done well at turning crowds before Max came along.
I think as long as they weren't next to each other in the calendar.
Yeah.
Because we've seen big crowds of Dutch Austria this year. There was an all-orange stand. So I think as long as they weren't back-to-back.
But like I said before, Max turned up. It's always been well attended. The only reason that we almost lost Spa was because of Bernie. He thought there might be a chance to get another Arab nation on the calendar.
No, they were going to alternate, weren't they, with France, with Magny-Cours at one point.
Yeah.
It was going to be Spa one year, Magny-Cours the next, and then they were going to
alternate. That was only because of the deal that they were trying to broker with
somebody else.
The year that we didn't have a Belgian Grand Prix was when Bernie jacked the prices up.
Yeah.
And the promoters, which are actually the local government of the region that Spa's in, just went, we're not paying that. So Bernie went, okay then, any dictatorships, we've got a race going free.
Yeah.
And then everyone kicked off and said, why the hell isn't there a Belgian Grand Prix? We want it, or we're going to boycott Formula 1. So Bernie went back and said, okay, you can have it at last year's price.
Yeah.
The art of the deal.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's what it is, a bit toing and throwing here and there. I quite like the idea of a Zandvoort Grand Prix.
Something tells me it would actually be cheaper and a better experience to go than it would to Silverstone, with the way that they've been jacking the prices up there recently.
Possibly. Was it last podcast or podcast before Dan priced up a trip to Silverstone, and it was quite expensive.
Yes, but Dan priced that up in a very sort of we're flying first class and staying in a good hotel middle class kind of way.
Yeah.
Well,
I then priced it up and it came out at
a lot less.
Yeah. Dan priced it up as something like £1,500 each for the four of us. I looked at it on a slightly more budget perspective, and it came out at £1,200 for the lot.
Well, there you go. Budget wins.
Yeah.
You talked about Brands Hatch before. From what I know of Zandvoort, it's very much like Brands Hatch in that the stands are right on the circuit. They're not a million miles away from the a lot of the Tilke circuits. You've got a lot of gravel, and then you've got access roads before you get to the grandstands, and the grandstands are really far away from like a...
Sorry, Flood, I'm drowning.
Oh. Are you alright, Lee?
Maybe.
Drowning in your own tea?
Yeah.
And Zandvoort, the stands are, if I remember rightly, right on the circuit, so the atmosphere would be electric.
Yeah, I've seen footage from old races, and it is really closed in.
Yeah. Whether that would have to change in order for it to be Grade 1, I don't know. Because you have to have
would,
runoff
because
areas.
they'd have to have massive runoff areas, or penalty zones, as they are now called.
Penalty zones?
Well, no, that's what I've christened them.
Okay.
If you go into one, you might get a penalty, but we're not entirely sure.
So it sounds like a Misfits song. That's Danger Zone. Sorry.
That was from Top Gun.
Yes.
Should we paint all the curbs then, instead of being like black and white? Should they be like the chance card on Monopoly board?
Yes.
Yeah, get rid of all the stars at Circuit of the Americas and put question marks on instead. Something with question marks. Anyone seen those prospective new logos that FOM have just registered as trademarks?
There's consideration over whether or not to change the Formula One logo, because it has been the same since is it 1991 they put that logo in place?
It was later than that. I think it was about 94.
Was it the current existing Formula One logo with the F and the 1 integrated with the sort of the speedy tail on the back of the 1,
which until about a month or so ago, the red bit with the speedy tail coming out, I thought was the one. I didn't actually realise that the one was transparent and made up of the gaps between the two things.
Yes.
I only sort of had it pointed out to me about 6 weeks back, and I thought, oh, what a moron. But I did notice that somebody else on Twitter, mentioning no names, Jana, thought the same as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, these ones appear to have been done by the Blind Hedgehog Collective once they escaped from bottom of bag.
Well, no,
I've been watching Blackadder again.
Lee's just had a look at them. I don't think... you've got the one that looks a little bit like a circuit. I could kind of see why that might work.
The one that's like a figure of 8.
Yeah.
I wasn't into that.
It looks like the one that looks like a Scale X-Trick rip-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the one that looks like a road leading into a brick wall, which I don't think is the best.
Not the message you want to send.
One of them.
I think that's the one that they're going to use on Venezuelan TV.
I was going to say it's the Maldonado logo.
I do think it's another one of these things that that's turned up and
update it a little bit. It's 20-something years old, then fine, but don't have to change it.
It's one of those things that pops up and then the internet goes fucking furious for some reason.
Well, the internet's only going furious because it's just examples of really bad design.
I'm surprised someone hasn't called it a racist Nazi yet. That seems to be the common response for most things.
There is the third logo with the chunks taken out of it. It looks like parts of the letters have been given grid penalties and they're having to start at the back.
Yeah,
yes,
the funny thing about the one with the chunks taken out of it is that makes so much sense for the F, but not so much for the 1.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just like, oh right, so you've got the cross bit of the F. But yeah, the 1, no, not so much. Yeah, why would you take the middle out of the 1? That looks like F7, which is a button I hit on my keyboard every now and again.
Didn't ever hit with Pretend That We're Dead.
That was L7.
Which I'm sure if they get the design intern to have another go at, that's what the next one will look like.
Probably, yeah. I'm sure we can stick these...
Oh, and they've been all over the place, but I'll
prospective ideas on our
stick a picture
Facebook
up on Facebook for the 3 people that haven't seen them and said, "Oh my god, they're shit so far."
Maybe we could invite listeners to have their own go, see if they can come up with
That's a
something
great
better.
idea.
That is a very good idea.
I don't think it'll take much effort to come up with something better.
Do better than what they've done. There you go. That's your mission.
Tell you what. We'll have an impromptu competition.
No impromptu competition.
No. We'll have an impromptu competition because we've got a fucking box of T-shirts that I need to get rid of somehow.
With a logo.
With a logo, yeah. Send us in what you think the new F1 logo should look like.
Yeah.
We will have a look at them all, and the best one will get a 3 Legs 4 Wheels T-shirt. How about that?
And we'll send it to them. We'll send it to Formula One and go, consider this.
I thought you meant we'll send the T-shirt to them. I was like, yeah, that's part of it.
We'll send the logo. Yeah, of course that's part of it. No, we'll send the logo to the official, to the people and be like, consider this for a logo.
I'm going to have a heavy bias towards any logo that's sent in which uses penises.
Hidden penises.
Yeah. like Disney films.
Why didn't I think this through before I opened my mouth? I didn't want to think I was the producer of this show.
He mentions penises. Paul starts mentioning about why didn't he open his mouth. Anyway,
I'd like to thank Jacques Villeneuve for the last 30 seconds.
Someone on the website that I found the logos on, I put up in the comment section saying they all look like Wipeout team logos.
No, they do. That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of them. There's actually the figure of 8, which I can kind of see would work because it does look like of one.
Yeah.
But that's like the Wipeout logo.
It is. That looks like something similar to Wipeout as well.
Well, Lee, you said your ideal for Formula One would be to be as close to Wipeout as possible. Surely this is a start.
Absolutely.
Surely make it like Ridge Racer and tunnel through mountains.
Yeah, there's only so long we can go with wheels.
Exactly.
That'll cut costs down. Get rid of the wheels.
Pirelli's tyre deal somehow would not work very well.
I was going to say, I thought that was last year's tyres.
Well, they just work like Heeley shoes. Oh dear.
Anyone ever worn a pair of those?
No. On my
I
feet,
can
I'm
fall
size
over
12.
as it is. I don't need a
last
fucking
time I
wheel.
checked, I've never been a 12-year-old girl.
Which is comes as a surprise to me.
I think when I was a 12-year-old girl, I don't think they were a thing then, or they were between vogues at the time. I don't know, but
I remember seeing a warning sign in the departure lounge at Edinburgh Airport saying no Heelys allowed.
What about Fran
fair
Healy?
enough.
Does he would surely go there?
Well, yeah, because he's from Glasgow, isn't he? So they're not going to let anyone from Glasgow into
there you
Edinburgh
go.
Airport.
Oh, they might do. They might do. I can't think of a reason why.
I like the idea that the whole thing that's no Heelys is just to stop Fran Healy going there. The whole measure was put in. It's Fran Healy was the
Singer of Travis, yeah.
Yeah. Seems like a perfectly reasonable thing for me to do. That.
Just no, he's not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, why does it always rain on him?
Has anybody ever seen, you know, those what they call those boards you lean on, go forwards?
Hoverboard.
Yeah, like a hoverboard.
I've seen a child fall off one of them on Douglas Prom. It was
Have you ever seen a hoverboard where you, like somebody on a hoverboard where you can't actually see the hoverboard because there's a wall in the way? It's terrifying. It looks like Child from Exorcist because all you see is child moving forwards whilst not moving their legs at like 10-15 mile an hour.
So does that mean if you see someone on a Segway go past and you can't see the wheels, it looks like a 0G pogo stick?
Yeah, well, pretty much, yeah. It must do, but yeah, a hoverboard when you can't actually see the hoverboard and it's just a teenager with a hoodie on, pretty scary.
Yeah.
That child is from The Exorcist.
Well, teenagers with hoodies, pretty scary to begin with.
Only if you're a Tory.
I'm glad my mum don't listen to this all that often. Oh, where are we? Toro Rosso.
Yes.
Yes. The Red Bull, the pinnacle of the Red Bull Young Driver Programme,
Yes.
have announced 28-year-old Brendan Hartley as their driver next season alongside Pierre Gasly.
Well, he was a product of the Red Bull Young Driver programme.
Yeah, but then they put him through the meat grinder and now they've glued him back together.
Because he glued himself back together by putting some decent performances in away from Formula One and becoming a world endurance champion. World endurance champion.
Is
world
that what
champion.
happened to Robert Kubica? Because self-assembly, you always get bits left over.
Don't say it, baby.
And
Anyway.
yes, and Pierre Gasly was, he was always going to have that seat for next year anyway. It was always thought that he was just going to be in a couple of races early when he was coming in to replace. Hang on, let me get this right now. When he came in to replace Sainz,
he came in to replace Kvyat.
He came in to replace Kvyat
After he put it in the wall in Singapore.
and then Gasly had to go away to
Not race in Japan.
Yes.
So Hartley then replaced Gasly and Kvyat replaced
Sainz.
Sainz.
and then Kvyat went again, and Gasly replaced Kvyat.
It's actually quite shocking that they've decided to stick with two drivers, really, isn't it?
Only till Australia.
Yes, well, again, much like we said before, see what happens when we get to Australia in March.
I don't have a clue what will happen.
But yeah, Hartley and Gasly makes sense. They're finished the season together, starting next season together. Yeah, it's fine. I also don't have an issue with Brendan Hartley's age. The only thing I have an issue with is that Red Bull put him through the meat grinder in the first place. But
probably set his career back by about 3 or 4 years.
But they had the sense to be like, you know what, he came through the same time as Vettel and Ricciardo and he's gone on to become a world champion. Maybe he just came through at a really awkward time for other drivers to come through. So let's bring him back and, good luck to him. Hope he does well.
It's kind of like what Man United did with Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Because
they didn't pay all that money for him.
Yeah,
again.
They had him when he was a kid, wasn't very good, sold him for next to nothing, and then bought him back as the most expensive footballer in the world. Once he got good.
Yes.
And as Lee is fond of saying, Red Bull have all the money.
All of it.
But still want more.
I believe the gangster term for it is Benjamins on top of Benjamins.
You're back to what you did with your mate's TV again, aren't you? That's tonight's Patreon reference. Find out more at patreon.com/3legs4wheels.
So give us money and listen.
It's all about the Benjamins. What else have we got? The FIA being unusually generous.
Unusually generous.
Yep, they have given Manor, or what's left of Manor, or Manor's liquidators or administrators, the 2017 entry fee back.
Well, that's nice of them, seeing
less administrative costs.
Which was 85% of the original charge.
Now, it's kind of them to have given back the entry fee to Manor, seeing as Manor didn't turn up for any races.
Because they'd gone bust.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just over $500,000. It was 522,322.
Plus one. Well, this is the thing that I got confused before when you were telling us. Plus the money for their point.
Yes. Plus, that includes the additional $6,194 for the point.
So hang on, for one driver point and one constructor point, because that's how it's counted, isn't it?
It was just the constructor point.
Yeah, Verline will still have had to have paid
$6,194 per point.
Per point.
Yes.
So how much have Mercedes had to pay? That times however much they had.
Yeah, was it 200 odd?
This is silly. Now, I didn't realise that teams and drivers had to pay extra on top of.
I think it's less for the drivers. I think it's about 2,000 for the drivers. So I assume
What, per
Verline,
point?
Yeah, per point. So Verline will have paid that last year when he got his.
So hang on a second. So Hamilton and Vettel are paying like 300 times 2,000.
Don't forget that the drivers get bonuses, performance bonuses.
Yeah, the performance
Yeah, some of which will have to go towards their next year's super licenses.
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't mind betting if you're getting a bonus, it's probably more than the points worth.
It probably is.
That you're doing. So yeah, so it's probably that's probably the team covering that cost, because the last thing you'd want as a team, if you had a driver involved that's already paying to be in the seat. It wouldn't give you such a negative attitude knowing that you'd have to pay for your own success. Well, it's not good.
Jenson Button was the first driver I saw to complain about this.
Was he?
Yeah, because when he had his championship season, Braun were so financially strapped that he was going to take a sizable cash hit to pay for the following year's super license, and it was only his McLaren signing bonus that got him out of the hole.
Oh, wow.
So as things stand at the moment,
so who decided that we should start? Well, not we. The drivers and the teams should pay an entry fee if they manage to score some points. Because surely that's a little bit of a bonus for Sauber when they go into next season. We don't have to pay anything because we didn't score any points.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, if the entry fees are the same for next year as they were for this, which I am doubting very much that they are, they will have gone up. Sauber will have to pay $522,322. Mercedes will have to pay $4,393,572.
Yeah. Is that just for the points?
That's just for the points. And then the drivers will have to pay per point on their super license renewals as well.
Oh, so that must be one of the reasons why the last place in the championship then doesn't get money.
But if they've scored points, then they get a double hit, because they don't get the prize money. But if they're last and have scored points, which has happened before in seasons where everyone's scored points.
Again, I said when we were talking about this before we started the podcast, the only thing you have got to think is that regulating an entire sport like Formula One clearly doesn't pay for itself.
No.
So wait, so the top teams have to pay a bit more because they scored more points.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of interest, are the FIA a non-profit organisation?
Doubt it.
Does that money go to the FIA?
I think
Yeah,
so.
it's
in
an
the FIA's
FIA
regulations.
license. It's an FIA entry into the sport. So the money will go to the FIA. I'm just having a look on the super license page for the drivers.
I would like to know. I may write to the FIA and ask if that money is reimbursed into Formula One.
It will probably go to other charitable
Road safety
foundations, road
initiatives.
safety initiatives,
Yeah.
funding lower.
EJ's hair.
Well, it's not made out of shredded banknotes. Let's have a look. The FIA charges.
Any idea how difficult it is to make candy floss out of orphans?
Who's up for starting a charity that we get FIA backing for? I'm going for the Kai Abel Ear Bleeding Association to help the victims of everybody who's had to endure more than 30 seconds of Kai Abel.
Should we not get eye bleeding as well for his attire?
That could be the subsidiary charity.
See, this is where I can't. I obviously, like any normal red-blooded American male, I hate Kai Abel. But I don't understand.
I thought you said you didn't get Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I can't understand how you can hate Kai Abel yet like that little Italian prick. He's Italian.
Frankie
isn't he?
Dettori?
I was going to say who.
Davide Valsecchi.
Yes.
No, I like Davide Valsecchi.
There's a world of difference
No,
between
he's
Kai
too-
Abel and Davide Valsecchi.
No, he's Poundland Kai Abel.
No, Davide Valsecchi was a racing driver.
Barely.
He was a pretty good racing driver. Was he not
He was-
GP2
and
champion?
he was
Yeah,
GP2
GP2 champion.
So was Pastor Maldonado.
Could we just touch on quickly the whole?
I'm not having him touch on anything.
No, the European
I
Formula
have
3.
soft, delicate hands.
European Formula 3 is merging with GP3 to become Formula 3, International Formula 3.
I
Not
missed that.
surprising, but yeah, kind of needed it.
Yeah, International Formula 3, then Formula 2, and then Formula 1. So I get the whole sort of rebranding thing.
So it's only going to be. Oh well, this is.
I think this is the last. I think 2018 is the last year of European Formula 3.
So then, what you'll find is that next year, not next year, the year after next year, the international will get dropped off Formula 3, and then they will have a logo, a very similar logo for 1, 2, and 3, and then one ring to rule them all.
Yeah, quite probably. Yeah, which is why.
It's worked for MotoGP.
It'll
Yeah.
work for Sauron.
Yeah, Moto 2 and Moto 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though they have separate Moto 2 and 3 series with the CIM championships, which aren't anything to do with it.
But this is
so
exactly
there'll still
what
be
they
other
should
Formula
do.
3. There'll be British Formula 3 going on.
Of course, yeah.
But I think that means if there's less third tier,
Yeah.
we'll see the 3.5 series. What used to be Formula Renault 3.5.
Yeah. Formula 3.5
Now it's
V8.
now it's just called Formula 3.5 V8 because they use other engines.
Yeah.
I think we'll see that increase in popularity.
I think what you'll find is that you'll get Formula One's weekend will take on the MotoGP model, and you'll have F2, F3, 2, and F1 over the weekend together. Someone will fuck Porsche Super Cup off because
It's
shit.
Porsche Super Cup. You know,
It's the same with the Ferrari Challenge Cup as well, isn't it? Who does anything out of the Ferrari Challenge Cup?
next question.
Yeah.
is there a Ferrari Challenge Cup?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and at the moment they're using, is it the 488 they're using?
Is that if you manage to make it all the way through the year with your job, you've passed the Ferrari Challenge?
Yeah, congratulations, Kimi Raikkonen, multiple winner of.
Maurizio, you were so close.
most successful Ferrari challenge participant since Michael Schumacher.
You
get a participation medal for not setting yourself on fire these days.
But that seems like a great move to me, because if they can do that, it would give the teams a bit more of a push. You know, that your F3 and F2 teams.
You sort of Carlins and Ardens.
You know, get fans to know them, get fans to know the drivers, and make it a real feeder series rather than the fucking yuppie day out that it's become.
Well, no, that's the Porsche Super Cup. That's just rich men driving into walls.
That's not far off what GP2 is now, or F2.
I don't think so. I think F2 you will get the odd driver coming through, but it's not been a feeder series.
But it's been who was the last F2 guy that's come in and like blown the doors off Formula
1.
Lewis Hamilton,
Lewis Hamilton,
Nico Rosberg.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it took Rosberg a while to blow the doors.
But like he came in, he was a permanent fixture. I don't think for F2, GP2, wherever it
is working as a feeder series.
But I don't think it's been that feeder series for a long time now.
You have mentioned this before at length and at rant.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to touch on that as well with the whole merger thing happening. I don't think I wrote that down in the thing, because we had a Formula 3 in Macau as well, didn't we, recently? This weekend just gone?
This weekend just gone.
As well as many other disciplines at Macau.
Yes, they kind of have the Grand Prix weekend. Touring cars, sports cars. Anyone see the 17 car pile-up?
Yeah,
was
sent it to the group.
astonishing.
Yeah.
One guy in front got it badly wrong, and the circuit's that narrow that it's a car and an eighth wide.
One of them ended up on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it looked like?
That's Ricardo Rosset.
It looked like bad computer game AI.
Yeah, bang, 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 bang.
Like it's stuck.
Yeah.
It's got stuck.
Yeah.
Or when you play like a motor racing sim game, and essentially it gives you all the options, so that you can have the amount of cars on track that your graphics card can spit out, and you just keep going, yep. And the next thing is you've got a grid of 250 cars that go into turn one like a nuke.
Yeah.
I would say how much did you spend on your graphics card, but I do know that it's got its own bedroom in your house.
It's not. It's up there now.
And it's on the shelf.
I'm I'm a fucking idiot.
Yes,
really am.
but go on.
Yeah, it's on a shelf. We're not even connected to a telly. Such a moron.
I don't know. But yeah, the final lap on the F3 race.
Yeah,
with,
if you haven't seen that.
Yeah, go and look for that with two leaders dicing all the way around and then taking each other out on the last corner.
Well, no, not really. One of them sort of tried to take the other one out. That didn't work, and then your other man just went straight on and hit the barrier, just going a bit too fast.
Yeah.
Carrying a bit too much speed. Got it very. I think he was watching the other guy have an accident, thinking, "I'm going to win the race."
Yeah.
And then forgot
about the corner.
Yeah, forgot about the corner. Hit the barrier, which enabled. I can't remember who won now.
It was one of the Red Bull juniors.
Dan Ticktum.
Yes.
And Lando Norris finishing second.
Yeah, according to one of the crashees, Ferdinand Habsburg.
Who actually crossed the
Excellent
line
name.
fourth.
Yeah, he doesn't regard himself
There's
as...
a man with no silver spoon. It's not Ferdinand Hamstead the third, is it?
He's German, so it could be Von.
Oh, right, okay.
Frederick von Habsburg.
Yeah, he does not regard himself as having lost the Macau Grand Prix, despite crashing out of the lead on the final corner.
Different definition of lost then, isn't it, really?
Did you win? No. Right.
Yeah, you lost the race and control of your vehicle.
Yeah, can I point you towards something Ayrton Senna said many years ago about finishing second, being the first of the ones who lose?
Yeah.
To finish first you have to turn.
To finish first, you need to go around that corner.
I was crying when I crashed because I knew I'd lost it.
So he did lose it.
So he did lose it, but then he said he didn't lose it. I'll tell you what.
I think he's lost it.
No, do you know what I reckon? There's no future for him in motor racing with cornering skills like that, but politics. Yeah. I am not on fire. I refute the suggestion that I am on fire, and these flames are merely a side effect of something else.
But you finished fourth.
But I didn't lose.
Okay, now you sound like Flavio Briatore, which is weird.
He also said he was 100% not going to finish second.
Correct.
That's good prediction skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of need more than 3 wheels connected with the tarmac to
when
win.
everyone's going to outbrake each other, sooner or later somebody has to brake at some point.
Usually before those little barrier-y things on the side of the track.
Maybe he thought it was Mario Kart.
He was going for a box that he'd seen and nobody else had, and it was a shortcut. Yeah, I just get the feeling that is a name that we will not be seeing on the grid unless a team is very, very short of money or royalty.
Yeah. I did notice as well, Mick Schumacher didn't have the best race either. He
binned it on the first lap and ran round in 20th for a bit and then finished 14th.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But he didn't bin it. He avoided binning it by going down a runoff area, didn't he? And then, as you say, ran around in 20th for most of the race. And yeah,
made the most of other people being shit.
Yeah. I can't help but think Mick Schumacher's being pushed a little bit here. Do you know what I mean? He's sure, of course, he wants to make it to Formula One, but I
think he will make it to Formula One.
He will eventually, yeah. But I mean,
so did Nelson Piquet Jr.
Yeah, much like Bruno Senna on the strength of the name. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing I would think for Senna is I think it was too late. I think if he'd have done that earlier, I think he'd have made a fine Formula One driver.
Well, he was stopped from karting, wasn't he, for 10 years after his uncle Ayrton died. And with Mick Schumacher, I get the feeling that he could be a very talented driver, but there's so much commercial and media spotlight on him that to force him through each level just 1 year at a time, that perhaps his talent isn't being nurtured in the correct way and could end up making a bit of a laughingstock of himself. And I hope he doesn't, because he comes across like a really nice kid. And of course he's not in a great situation with what's going on with his family and his dad at the moment, with his dad's Monaco winning car from 2001 selling for like 5 million, was it, this last week?
It was some
7,
ridiculous amount.
7 million.
Obscene.
Yeah. Which it's all to help Michael and his recovery.
It's next level pressure as well.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's like being a second generation or a third generation Formula One driver.
Yeah.
And then there's being Michael Schumacher's son.
Yeah, with a very similar name.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And all the sponsors who stopped sponsoring Formula One drivers, the second that Michael announced his second retirement, they've all jumped back in and straight onto your cap. You essentially, you are following in those footsteps.
It's Schumacher's cap.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it is just the Schumacher hat.
No, has it got the Deutsche Werbe?
Yeah. All it's
German MOT. Yeah.
All it's missing is the stars.
Yeah. And
which I'm sure the sponsors want to see on there as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, I hope that he does make a fine driver, but I get the feeling, as Lee just said, it's next level pressure. It's a little bit unfair on him to just sort of expect to be as good as Michael out of the box.
I also can't help but think that if he does make it through to Formula One, it'll be Ferrari that bring him in.
It might be.
Jesus.
Yeah, we claim that Red Bull's a meat grinder. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he'll have the Philip Morris backing that isn't really Philip Morris backing, honest.
Yeah.
Yes, probably.
Because they don't outwardly sponsor Ferrari or Ducati or anything.
No, although they do.
Remotely similar. What is it? Assisted financial aid.
Yes.
From a charitable
Ferrari
foundation.
Well, if you look at the Ferrari logo, put it this way: if you held the Ferrari logo in a mirror, sort of up against the mirror, it would look very similar
to something that says Iraraf.
No, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Scuderia Ferrari logo with the red triangle on it.
If you hold it up to a mirror sideways on and look at it in both sides, it kind of looks like a fag packet.
And then if you fold it over and fold it over again, you can see the history of Ferrari's championships destroyed in front of your eyes.
Oh dear.
Oh good. Formula E. And we're done.
Formula E have signed a good TV deal for Formula E.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. We beat on Formula E a little bit because it's still quite fledgling.
Yeah.
And it's old Formula One drivers that are going
Quite
there.
fledgling.
Quite fledgling.
Right. Bear with me. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm just going for a fledgling. Nobody follow me in.
You're going to come back with a small bird. Fair enough.
What have you been eating?
I don't know. I'm talking a load of fledgling.
A fledgling is a small bird.
Yes, I know, but I thought you were using it as a euphemism for shit.
No, I wasn't at all. Quite young. But as far as... Sorry, I didn't mean to elbow the table in either. You will listen to me!
Angry Toto.
I do hate it when you get angry and start banging your cock on the table.
It's only a young cock, it's a fledgling.
Yeah, exactly. But
I've had enough.
Oklahoma! Formula E. We do beat on it quite a bit because it's
You beat
Be
it
on your Fledgling.
yeah.
There are ladies present.
Because it's
I
rubbish.
think I do think if they keep beating on it though, sooner or later it's going to come off for them.
They've got to get it right eventually, haven't they? I mean, there's a lot of money being pumped into this now.
I think it's a problem with battery operated extension.
This is the problem, isn't it? It's just that they need one good splurge.
So, Formula
Right.
E has signed a new TV deal ahead of the new season that starts in a couple of weeks' time in Hong Kong.
Their season just climaxes. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, carry on.
No, the season does start. Is it Hong Kong round
Hong
one
Kong.
this
Hong
year?
Kong
First one?
first weekend in December, I do believe.
Rumours that Felipe Massa might actually take part in this Formula E season have arisen on various social media platforms. Whether or not he will go from retiring from Formula One straight into another series that starts straight away, I can't see him doing that.
No, he said he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he said the only reason he didn't want to join Formula E this year
was because it starts so quickly.
Yeah, but well, no, it was because he didn't think he'd get a drive for it, and he didn't want to come in halfway through the season because he only wants to race in a championship if he has the chance of winning it.
Well, I think
So
Jean-Eric
why has
Verne
he
proved
been in
that
F1 for the last...
Well, I think Jean-Eric Verne proved, didn't he, that you could go into Formula E halfway through a season and still nearly win it.
Yeah, but I mean that's nearly winning it. I
Yeah.
can see what he means. You know, if you
Massa has the talent to go into Formula E, missing a race or
but
two,
now
and
you
still.
say this makes me wonder whether that was a loaded interview that was lobbying for a drive.
Yeah, it could well have been.
So
Could have been lobbying for a drive. It's Jaguar are in Formula E this coming season, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I wouldn't mind betting. They haven't confirmed their driver lineup. Then I wouldn't mind betting that Felipe Massa might be one of the Jaguar
I
drivers in
wouldn't mind
Formula
betting
E.
that a team, because let's face it, right? He wasn't the best Formula One driver. He could be a fine Formula E driver. For
Oh,
all
yeah,
we know.
absolutely, yeah. He's got talent. He was Formula One world champion for all of about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He would be the first almost champion, I think, to go to Formula E, rather than just somebody who was in first Formula One race winner. Is that correct? Nick Heidfeld never won any races, did he?
For what? For who?
To go to Formula E, the first Formula One race winner to be in Formula E.
Heidfeld.
No, Heidfeld
never won a race.
didn't win any
Did he not?
races.
John Verne, was he the first then?
John-Eric Verne
Never won a
race.
race.
Did he not?
No.
Oh, I
No.
thought he must have won a race.
No.
Maldonado hasn't turned up there yet, has he?
No, not yet.
It's too close to spectators.
Nelson Piquet Jr. was the first Formula E driver to cause a Formula One race win.
Right.
Yes.
So I think I'd be right in saying that Felipe Massa would be the first race winner to go to Formula E.
Formula One race winner.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about Formula E race
No,
winner.
sorry, first.
Now you see my confusion.
Yeah, so no, first Formula One race winner to go to Formula E.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind the last
No, you
race.
mentioned Nick Heidfeld. He went off into his own world of disappointment.
Yeah.
He did. Bearing in mind the last race that Felipe Massa won was that 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix.
Well, that's the other thing is he would be the first top line Formula One driver, because let's.
No, he is. Yeah.
But I'm certainly maybe not right now in Formula One, but certainly pre-spring bump. He was a top line Formula One driver before his accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and if he'd have won that championship with where he was fighting Lewis Hamilton for, and not had his accident, there's every fucking possibility that he could have gone on, been Ferrari's next guy, and won another, multiple world championships.
There is a chance because they wouldn't have signed Alonso.
Yeah, blah 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 yada. Yeah.
But as Murray Walker used to say, if is F1 spelt backwards,
Yes.
and everyone else went, "Where's the I?"
And what's Formula E spelled backwards?
F.
Exactly.
Iraref.
Yeah, but the amount of teams that, as we've already said, about switching from WEC to Formula E, Sergio Marchionne saying that Maserati entrant in Formula E is possible.
Yeah, I'm looking at the next season's lineup. Obviously, Audi and Porsche are in there because they've switched from WEC.
Yeah.
This is Renault's last year because Nissan are taking over from next season, because it's all run under the Infinity brand, which is sort of
A joint
venture between Renault and Nissan, and Nissan are getting control of it so that Renault take over, sort of concentrate more on Formula One.
Yeah.
And according to what I can see, there are no seats left in Formula E,
Including the Jaguar team.
Yeah, Jaguar is Nelson Piquet Jr. and Mitch Evans.
I can't help but feel, though, that Felipe Massa's a big enough name to break a contract for somebody.
That's the only way that he'd get in. Massa says, "Yeah, I'm available."
Well, hang on a second. Nelson Piquet Jr. is there, and he's been in Formula E since the beginning, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. If Brazilian money is going to, well, not that you need Brazilian sponsorship money for Formula E, but if Massa brings more Brazilian sponsorship money, then perhaps he could kick Nelson Piquet Jr. out.
Don't forget, Nelson Piquet's an ex-champion, isn't he?
He is, yeah, of Formula E. Still find it very weird saying that. I'm not saying Formula Lee.
No, we'll talk about that later. So anyway, this new deal, BT Sport have signed up to show all races and practice sessions live. Yeah, there was a point in that where before we got sidetracked.
Dan isn't even here to defend his own, his own sport.
I think he's given up trying.
Well, isn't this the time of year where we all say we're gonna watch Formula E next year?
Yeah,
I tried watching more WEC this year and failed because I kept missing it.
It's not that there isn't
but it's on for a long time.
I was just going to say, it's not that there isn't enough to catch.
No, but I mean, it's just you look at the calendar and think, oh, it's that weekend. Okay, cool. I'll try and catch that. And then that weekend comes and goes, and I didn't see any advertising about that anywhere.
we watched the last
17 minutes, I think, of the 6 hours of Bahrain.
Yeah, the last few laps.
Do you know what? I can't get on board with WEC and like endurance racing because I just can't warm to. Like I've said it before on the podcast. I'm a driver-orientated person where I will support a driver most of the time. Can't get on board with a series where I could think, oh, like Alonso's driving, that's great, but his race could be derailed by one of the other two people.
Yeah.
So your guy can get fucked through no fault of his own and actually from his own teammates.
Yeah,
So
I know what you
that's
mean.
why I can't get on board with it.
Yeah, the other tricky thing is with the coverage. They've got the scroller at the bottom with constant tick of all positions, but they just do it by car. It's number and manufacturer. They don't actually say who's driving.
Yeah.
And
So you've got to be a real fan to work it out.
It can be quite tricky to follow.
Seems needlessly fucking dicky,
yeah,
doesn't it?
they were talking about somebody being unmistakable because of his helmet. Like you can't see it. It's dark, and he's got a tinted windscreen and windows. You can't see the helmet in the car.
He's in the car. That's like saying, "Oh, that's the man with the blue eyes."
Yeah.
He said
well,
helmet.
Well, yeah, thanks very much. But it's like the A1 GP thing, isn't it? Here come Great Britain. Well, hang on, who's driving for Great Britain this week?
The car's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be more sort of personality led rather than team led.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Just on the commentary and the presentation side of things.
I mean, but it's great for Formula E that BT Sport have picked this up.
Is it?
Yeah, no, I think it is.
I mean,
I think there are pros and cons.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which, because to me,
the con is BT Sport's just gone up by £5 a bloody month.
Yeah, there's that. It is a subscription
really?
channel.
Yeah.
It's not like Channel 5, who had it this year, free to air. BT Sport, you have to pay a fair whack to see that.
See, in my head, I mean, I know MotoGP's on BT Sport.
Which you don't pay for because you use my login.
Yep. But I can't help think that 80% of the people that have BT Sport are football fans or UFC fans.
Yes.
I think they are the two marquee things for that channel. I
don't know. I don't know. I'd say there was 3 because I know a lot of rugby union fans.
Is there a lot of egg thrown on it?
Yeah.
They have
MotoGP as well.
Yeah, but even so, I think MotoGP, although a big, well-followed sport, I would say is almost a minority sport. When you actually look at the numbers.
I know people who have signed up for that just so they can watch MotoGP.
But when you look at the actual viewing figures, BT Sport is football, rugby, UFC.
And they've started doing boxing
and the
as
Ashes,
well
and now they're moving into cricket. Yeah. They're actually trying to become a big boy sports channel. Because they're getting sports that people have heard of,
and stealing them off of Sky. More importantly,
yes.
Is it cheaper than Sky BT Sport?
Yeah, but they haven't got as many channels.
You have to have Sky to have BT Sport.
You've got to have a Sky box. You don't have to.
Over here you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Because in the UK you can get
You can just internet watch
Good point, Sean.
If you pay the subscription.
I think there's an option for that.
Yeah.
All our non-UK listeners are just sat there going, what?
Yeah. But
they own ESPN as well.
Yeah, I can't help but think that something like Formula E needs a crossover. Formula E needed to try and grab onto the coattails of Formula 1 as much as it could, because that's the crossover in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Channel 5 have signed up to Formula E for another season.
Yeah.
Which their coverage over the last season was absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Channel 5 have got their main channel and some secondary channels as well.
To be fair, though,
some races were shown in standard definition on the other channels, and you had
spike.
Yeah, you had to scroll down to 378.
Qualifying was on a different channel to the races, wasn't it? That's fucking bananas.
When they had the double header in New York, the two races were on two different channels.
Oh, Jesus Christ! But my only issue is, I don't think the MotoGP coverage on BT Sport is particularly good. I think the studio setup and because I think it's what's her name, isn't it? Usually in the studio,
Susie Perry.
Yes, and Plastic Man,
Craig Doyle.
No, the ex-rider.
James Toseland.
Yeah, he's there a lot.
Plastic.
We knew exactly who he meant for some reason.
It wasn't there a week ago last Saturday.
Was he not?
Well, no, we were watching him on stage in Wales.
Oh, well, maybe we got a plane. But yeah, I don't.
Well, no, it was in Wales when they were doing qualifying. So
I don't think their coverage is very good. I think their qualifying. I think their commentary team, which they picked for MotoGP, is like the worst commentary team.
Now that's changing next season because one of them's retired.
Good. Are they burning him?
I think he's just retired. I don't
think
there's a fire.
One? Is it the one that when I read
Jules?
It's the
older guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when the thing I can't get about MotoGP coverage from BT Sport is when I read Animal Farm.
It's a good start.
Everybody settle down. We're in for a long one here.
Dare I ask which version of that?
Not really. The book version, not the film.
You don't read a film, so yeah.
When I read Animal Farm, in my head, before I ever heard his voice, that's what all the pigs sounded like.
I've got to admit, you're right. You're listening to the guy, and he sounds fat.
Yeah. To be fair, he is. I think he does look it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one to talk, but he's bigger than me.
Yeah. So
maybe I shouldn't be talking then if he's bigger than me.
But I can't nobody is going to buy. Oh, sorry. There will be one ardent Formula E fan, won't there? That's out there.
Dan.
He's not here to defend himself.
I'm pretty sure Dan would prefer me to refer to him as a racist again. Then say he was a Formula E fan.
Yeah, but he's not.
He is a Formula E fan.
But he's not going to pay for it as well because he can have two concurrent logins with one password, and he's got it. He's got mine as well.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but I just can't see. I can't see anybody going out of their way to watch Formula E on BT.
I'll be going out of my way to avoid it on Channel 5 with Vernon Kay presenting it.
Oh, well, Channel 5 can just get the fuck.
Yeah. Anybody outside... Well, no, I suppose he has done presenting in the US as well, hasn't he, Vernon Kay? He did spend a short amount of time in the US.
You're not thinking of Steve Jones, are you, from Channel 4's F1 coverage?
No. Vernon Kay definitely did some US TV coverage of some entertainment shows. And
I
he got
imagine
sent
there's a
back
reason it was a short stint.
Yeah, he got sent back because they couldn't understand him.
He also had a very short stint covering American football for Channel 4, which he was terrible at, which, considering he's actually played at a semi-pro level for the last 15 years and is a TV presenter, you'd think he'd be quite good.
But he wasn't.
No.
Nah.
Oh dear.
So he just needs to stick to variety shows. Can't be as bad as Melanie Sykes presenting the MotoGP for those half a dozen races.
I never actually saw that.
She
saw
was
that.
excruciating.
Yeah, you had to. They had to explain to her which end of a bike was which.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
We're getting back into the Jonathan Ledyard.
Yeah, front wing, rear wing.
Kind of a bit like Steve Jones on Channel 4. It's kind of you kind of get the feeling sometimes when he's asking a question, he really wants to know the answer because he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
She was very like that, but more so.
Why are Mercedes silver?
She made Jonathan Ledyard look like a fountain of knowledge.
You know, Jonathan Ledyard could have been quite knowledgeable, but just didn't care. That was his problem. He just didn't. Oh yeah, well, whatever. I mean, you can't say, "Oh yeah, well, whatever." You've just been corrected on something. So stop being so proud.
Yeah, when Melanie Sykes was presenting the MotoGP, the question that was most asked in our house was, "What time's lights out?" And we'll turn it back on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, when's the grid walk? Right, next thing we've got on the list, Juan Pablo Montoya. Not too keen on Robert Kubica.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on social media feeds at the moment because some places, RTL in Europe, are reporting that Kubica has signed a 2-year deal with Williams. They're reporting that tonight. Now, I haven't yet seen anything further to confirm that, although Juan Pablo Montoya said earlier this week that it was a joke, and I believe he used the term, which had been watered down a little bit. You may hear Jacques Villeneuve here. Fucking stupid. Because Juan Pablo Montoya believes that there is no way Robert Kubica can push that car to 100% of its limit when he is limited himself.
That will surely be why they're going to be testing him in a week's time to see what he can do.
This is the thing, like there are spouts of tweets and things saying, "Oh, Kubica's been confirmed for." Well, like Lee said before, why would you confirm him before you've given him a third test?
Yeah.
What would be the point in confirming him and then putting him in for a third test?
I can understand like agreeing terms and before the test, so
like a pre-contract.
Yeah. So like, look, we're pretty sure we're going to sign you. Get in the car, see what you can do. But like that test is their last chance to know whether they're making the right decision or not.
Yeah.
I can't help. I mean, I'd love him to come back. I'd love him to be good, but I can't help think it's not a good move.
Certainly a 2-year deal seems.
It seems
strange.
very Williams thing to do now. Now thinking about it, because I mean, apart from the Martini sponsorship, what has Williams done right?
Apparently the film's really good. It's on Netflix now. We'll have to watch that this weekend.
I shall watch. I've not seen that yet either. I'm seeing lots of tweets of people, but they're all just saying
they're all. I'm looking at them now, and they're quoting RTL
or speculating, which is basically what we're doing by talking about it. I don't know where RTL have got their sources, their news from, but
a source within the team apparently has told the RTL F1 news show that they run called Slipstream.
Yeah.
Well, they said Slipknot then. Now that would be interesting. And judging by the two guys that present it, masks should be handed out.
Are we talking about Vernon Kay again?
No, the guy before that we said looked like Frank Williams' dad.
Yeah.
One of the presenters looks like Frank Williams' dad.
So, somebody apparently connected with Williams have told someone connected with this show. It's all a bit he said, she said. But
apparently Nico Rosberg has got the deal. Somebody's just saying there as well on Twitter. But
was it Nico Rosberg?
maybe Nico Rosberg's got the seat. Because Rosberg doing the deal for Kubica would make sense with Rosberg being a former Williams driver.
And
maybe that's why he said he'd manage him just to get into the same room and go, Well, if it's confusion, I could drive the LS.
Now, wouldn't that be a turn up for the books?
Cook walks out. You'll never guess what happened in there, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm as confused as you are.
You know that bit where it said sign manager's name here, right above where it said sign driver's name?
Yeah.
You're now managing me.
Yeah, and by the way, you're fired.
See, I like the idea that...
How's your good hand? Hold me trophy.
I like the idea that he doesn't sack him, and then they go off to have some sort of Likely Lads type sitcom together over the course of the season.
Like the second one, whatever happened to the Likely Lads, so one of them's relatively successful and the other one's still not.
With such jokes as, just give me a hand, Robert.
All else fails, didn't become a writer for this show.
Well, as soon as we get confirmation on the...
So as soon as it's all officially confirmed, probably by the time you've listened to this on Tuesday, then I might have to record an extra bit.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Mugabe was supposed to resign last night and that didn't happen, so...
No.
I can't help think, though.
Charles Manson's still dead.
Yes. I can't help think, though, you know the way that fans are building this up, like the big Cubits are comeback? Can you imagine if he is nothing short of exceptional, how he's going to be ripped apart by the media?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was all a waste of time.
Yeah.
He was a flash in the pan.
That's why race by race basis makes sense for Williams and for Kubica, because if Kubica is awesome, then he just carries on racing race by race. But then if he's really not, then Williams can go, hey, we took a gamble, sorry Robert, it hasn't worked, but thanks for coming back. See you later.
That would be the one that makes the most sense.
I was going to say go away retirement boy, but
they've already just got rid of a retirement boy.
Yeah. I can't think of anything to say to Robert Kubica that would be as effective.
Lee probably could, so moving on. Abu Dhabi preview.
Yes. There's a race on this weekend.
There is. That's usually my line.
Usually.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's Abu Dhabi. It's barely a race most of the time.
It has been a race when there's been a safety car.
or when Lewis Hamilton's tried to back the entire field back up to Rosberg.
Or when Vitaly Petrov decided his Renault was better than Alonso's Ferrari.
But aside from that, it's going to be a big anticlimax, isn't it? Everything at the top end of the championships has been decided.
Second place is still up for grabs, although looking hugely likely that Sebastian Vettel will take that unless he Ferraris it at this last race.
Dare you actually Ferrari it in the last race? Because you might find every night over the winter you get a fresh horse's head in your bed.
Yeah, but I mean, with it being the last race of the season, much like Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes at Brazil, might find that the team's just like, you know what, race day, it's the last race day, turn everything up. Doesn't matter if you retire, just go out there and give it all you've got. Turn everything up to full and just give it beans.
Well, which in the case of the Renault-powered teams, turning everything up to full means about 50% because
they can't, because they're playing what now?
Scrap heap challenge, according to Christian Horner.
Yes.
Because Renault stopped actually making engine parts. Now, this harks back to French toast kicking off in Brazil about having to
cobble together
engines from old components. Christian Horner has put it in his own slightly less sweary and threatening way, but been a lot more devious about it, and basically saying, we're having to make engines up out of bits that we've used, and Renault are sending us reconditioned parts.
Now, reconditioned parts are fine if, like me, you've got an old Ford Cortina. Because you look at it and you go, ooh, it's shiny, and it looks like new. And you bolt it on, and it works. Because you only drive your car once every now and again. But when you're trying to be,
I was going to say, when was the last time you got your Cortina up to 200 miles an hour under DRS?
Never. And yeah, was exactly my point. If you're trying to win a race, in the top level sport, you don't want a reconditioned part. You want something that you know is going to work. You don't want something that's broken and then been taken apart and fixed and cleaned up and put back together again.
Yeah, you can just see
You're
it.
paying for it. You may as well get them.
You can just see it now, can't you? Sort of Renault's engine supply team, they're all there in Wile E. Coyote outfits, and the boxes will be labelled Acme. And it's like, here, put this in the back of the car.
So, I mean, I understand.
Free curs this way.
I understand.
Acme Racing should definitely be our team if we ever enter motorsport.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get why Renault aren't making engines one race left. You're not going to spend all that money making engines for one race.
Yeah, but they stopped 3 or 4 races ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is, the teams are paying for them.
Exactly, but this is the thing. Like, if you're signing up to supply the teams with engines, you sign up to supply the teams with engines.
I think Helmut Marko is already onto PayPal about putting a complaint and saying we didn't get what we ordered.
Don't get onto PayPal.
It said new on the eBay listing.
I was just going to say French toast on eBay.
No, I was going to say don't get onto PayPal. You'll end up with one of the Elon Musk's new trucks. This is a Toro Rosso truck. We park it. No one gets past.
Going through Fivers to see if somebody will make him an engine. But yeah, it just seems hard. Do you know what though? Like, I know we mentioned this. I know I'm going to mention this so much now until the beginning of next year. This whole and then through next year, this whole engine, like the amount of engines you're allowed and stuff like that, it's fucked.
Yeah, 3 next year.
You know why we're warming up to slag Renault off, don't you? Because they'll be in the back of the McLaren next year, so you won't have Honda to slag off. So you have to start on Renault now.
Well, think about it, right? How many practice sessions do you have?
3 per race.
3 per race.
60.
Qualifying session.
1 per race.
So there is a chance that you could start in Australia, let's say if you had a Honda engine, with a 10-place grid penalty.
Yeah.
And realistically, you could do 3 engines in a weekend if your engine was fucking hopeless, and you will start the first race with a grid penalty.
Ross Brawn has said something this week about them looking at the grid penalty system and them trying to make it so that people aren't getting like ridiculous penalties again. But
yeah, but they're going to look at it. But let's face it, they're not going to. Those rules are in place now for.
Was it 730 grid penalties this season for engines? That's not including gearboxes and cheating in qualifying or carving someone up. That's just purely for engine penalties.
I think maybe they should look at lessening the penalty.
But more than half of them have been for Honda engines.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like lessening the penalty. You know, it's 10 per component, isn't it? 5 for a gearbox. Yeah. So if you replace all of your components in your power unit and your gearbox, that's 45.
Well, I mean the gearboxes don't break down as often. When the gearboxes go, it's usually because someone stuffed the car into the wall.
Yeah, broken a drive shaft.
It's not working. We've said it before. I mean, like if it's supposed to be to cut costs by saying you can only have 3 engines a year, I know what the fucking penalty is rather than the grid penalty. The penalty is having to buy another fucking engine.
Yeah, it's a financial penalty, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. But it is to stop the bigger teams from just buying an engine per race and doing what Hamilton did in Brazil. So, by turning it up to full whack, whereas other teams might have to look after their engines a bit more.
But you know what?
Only having 3 for next season, that is ridiculous. And we're going to see such slower races. 2017 we've seen faster races.
When
record's broken.
Yeah, we're now going to be going back to sort of 2014 speeds.
Yeah, 2018 we're going to be. Maybe. It's going to be slow. It's the only way I can see it.
Because it's going to have to be, because everyone is going to have to effectively knock the power down by 25%.
Don't forget you're coupling that with heavier cars as well. So we've had a really interesting year of all these records getting broken, but then we're going into the next season now where those times won't even be matched, let alone broken.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's another step backwards. Apparently, Red Bull did try and veto the plan for 3 engines, which needed the backing of every team, and they got support from 8 teams. Can you guess who didn't support them?
Ferrari.
Yes, because they said they'd spent too much on designing a more reliable engine, so everybody should keep up with them.
Fuck Ferrari.
You just know they're going to get double engine failure in Australia now for that.
It would fucking serve them right.
Yeah, it's just fucked.
Yeah, I mean,
drivers should be able to push 100% of the time if they can.
Yeah, so we had last year couldn't push because the tyres wouldn't last.
And the onus should be on the engineers to make the engines more efficient, not on the drivers to drive in a certain style that hang on, lift and coast because you might run out of fuel, and your hybrid engine's getting a bit hot.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
Engineers need to work harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of takes away from what Montoya's saying about Robert Kubica. Because, he won't be able to push 100% at every race.
We're driving like grannies.
Nobody will be able to push 100% at every race. They'll only be able to do 80% just to maintain the engine.
Yeah.
So, therefore, it's going to be easier for him to do it.
I mean, if it was a case of the drivers didn't have to do anything, it was all controlled by but by engine modes, that would be too bad, because at least the driver would still be then pushing to the most of his ability. It's the engine that'd be backing him off essentially, but it's not Formula One, is it? Formula One is booking a new engine in every.
The best
every
drivers
time,
in the fastest cars.
And I get what they're trying to do to try and help the smaller teams, because we can't have them continually falling out of Formula One and going bust. That's not it. But on the other hand, you can't have a completely fair sport, because that in itself is not fair. Because what that actually means, if you want a totally fair sport, you are penalising the better teams. So it's not fair. So it's essentially they're not making it equal.
If you want a level playing field, make it a spec series.
Yeah, they're trying to draw back the guys which are doing better. That's
always the way, though, isn't it? There's always, it's unfair. The guys who are winning get more prize money, and then they're spending more money on parts. And
that's fucking life, though, in every aspect of life.
Yeah, but I mean, you could. I mean, look at Toyota. They threw all of the money into their project.
300 million a year,
and
wasn't it?
And
didn't win a
they
race.
just weren't any good at it.
They won Lewis Hamilton a world championship.
Yeah.
Because they got the strategy call wrong on Timo Glock's tyres.
Yeah. Something needs to be done, and we're not paid anywhere near enough to decide what.
Funny for Toyota, though, that the year they actually decided to throw the towel in, they had a pretty good year before, didn't they? That 2009 season.
Couple of podiums.
Yeah, they weren't bad at all. Then that's when they went.
Yeah, well, they went because of the economic climate, didn't they? Much like Honda,
and
BMW.
Maybe they saw the brake recall as well, because that's around the same time, isn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, where they had massive brake problems, didn't they? On the road cars, and there was a big recall. It cost them fucking millions.
Yeah, the car in front is a Toyota. You want it to be, because if it's behind you, it might hit you.
Yeah, if it's behind you, it might end up just behind you.
Yeah.
So, predictions for this weekend then.
Oh yeah, we usually do predictions, don't we? Sauber are the only team now to not score points, aren't they?
Yes.
They're not going to do it there either.
No, I wouldn't think they'd manage it. They're still using last year's engines as well, aren't they? The engines that it's ridiculous, it really is. I don't see Sauber scoring points. I don't think McLaren will be able to score any points.
Well, Fernando seems to think that McLaren are going to have a strong weekend.
I hope so, but I don't see it.
Are we going to see more penalties for him?
No, because was it Zach Brown saying about stockpiling engines has actually worked out well for them at the end of the season, because they've now got to stop. They've taken so many engine penalties since the summer break that they've now got a stockpile of components that they can build, much like Renault are doing, Rebel are doing with the Renault engines or the Tag engines. They're now building parts of different specs of engines that they can put together, so they've got a relatively competitive car, and they won't have to take any more engine penalties.
Yeah, Fernando's engine's blown. It's okay. We've got 9 spare.
Yeah, exactly. We've already put 10 in the pool.
The pinnacle of motorsport.
I know. Yeah. But which completely agrees with what you just said, Lee, about people just being like the penalty is buying another engine. Mm-hmm. It's just,
well, what are you going to do if you use your allocation up? Not buy another engine?
Exactly.
Sorry, lads. We'll see you next year.
Yeah.
Or you could just Fred Flintstone it.
Well, I don't know if you're a Renault team, you're not going to buy another engine, are you?
Mind blown. I've just solved Formula 1 already.
Hang on, Lee, that's your job.
No, it's your job. All the engine manufacturers hate this idea, apart from Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
Everybody takes a 35-place grid penalty at the first race. All of them, apart from Ferrari. So Ferrari have got to then manage their engines. The other teams are like, oh yeah, whatever, mate. We've already put another one in the pool. Or they just take 6 engines for the first race. There you are. We're 6 in.
No, you can't do that. 'Cause if you use more than 2 engines over the course of a weekend, only the last one that you put in is added to the pool. Anyone between the first and the last are confiscated.
I like the idea of that because every team gets a new engine, so I hope you're happy with your pole position, Ferrari.
That's a nice front row you've got there, Ferrari. Terrible if something happened to it. Yeah. Yeah, like Mercedes have taken like 8 engines and they're still 3rd and 4th.
It's so funny.
Yeah. That would be a farce though, wouldn't it? And it would be like Tiregate at the US.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, Indianapolis.
No, it would be worse. It would be like knockout qualifying gate.
Oh no.
When nobody went out.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that though. I thought the idea was good, but then the teams were like, "Nah, we're all right."
It was fine until like the last 5 minutes when it was like, oh, it's done now.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, there was
was
no
strange.
sort of And what you really wanted was Hamilton and Vettel
Do you know what
out
the problem
there.
was? What they needed for one-shot qualifying to work? Refueling.
Yeah.
Because if you could have refueled, then you could have just kept doing racing pit stops. Then you'd have a 60-minute
Qualifying race.
60-minute qualifying session with cars just constantly pumping laps in, going in, changing tyres, refueling, going back out, and then as soon as you get to the thing bits, it's past Maldonado, get off.
Do you know what? Lee has just fixed the sport again. That's how
normality is restored.
Yeah.
That's how you qualify.
Yeah.
So back to the predictions. Do we see engine penalties for Red Bull for Toro Rosso? Sorry, because they've been picking them up at an alarming rate. Or do they have enough bits themselves to make enough engines?
I don't think anyone fucking cares now, do they?
Just interested to see what the Toro Rosso drivers can do without penalties behind them.
Not a lot. They couldn't do much before the penalties were being in place.
No, that was the last 2 drivers that they had.
Yeah, but the car's still back
No,
as shit.
Sainz was a good driver. That's why he's now in the Renault main team.
Yeah.
But the Hartley's still getting used to how Formula 1 works.
You qualify and you start 5, 10 or 15 places behind your slot.
Yeah, exactly. Gasly's still disillusioned with Formula 1, having tweeted what he put out just before the Brazilian Grand Prix. No penalties in V12 engines, please.
I know it's his first race, and I know he's had 2 DNFs because of the car, but I can't help but feel that Hartley's performance, when the car's been going,
Yeah.
has been there. Well,
A little, but I mean, again, it's hard to measure. It's much like it's hard to measure exactly how good Pascal Wehrlein's been this year.
You could kind of see it with Sainz. You could see, and even Kvyat to a certain extent, you could see there was more to them than that car could give, where he seemed to be slightly underperforming in an underperforming car.
Yeah, but look how long Sainz and Kvyat had been in that team.
Yeah.
Oh no,
for.
we'll have to see. But like I say, I think it's just, I can't help but feel that this lineup for Toro Rosso next year is a bit of a fuck it. We've got Honda engines anyway.
Stopgap.
Yeah.
It's going to be shite.
The other thing with Hartley as well is the physicality that drivers need now to drive a car, the amount of strength work they do and stuff like that. He probably hasn't done that to the same extent
That's a
for
good point, yeah.
WEC. That's something they can now take a look at him
Strength conditioning.
and put him on a program over
Because he's
the
got a
winter.
pencil neck.
He is a skinny piece of shit, isn't he?
Yeah,
It's
when he comes back for the start of next season, he's going to have a
put
neck
on
like a
10 kilo of
Cardassian.
Yeah, he's
muscle.
going to have Hulk Hogan.
That's the
neck.
one. That's the one out of Star Trek, not the keeping up with the.
Yeah. He's going to have Hulk Hogan neck. Does anybody remember when Hamilton went from first season to second season?
Yeah.
He went from being pencil neck to Hulk Hogan. His neck was as wide as his
Kimmy's
head.
the fucking crazy one. When you actually look at Kimi Räikkönen, his fucking neck is huge. It's just an extension of the side of his head.
Wow.
He'll come back looking like an American football offensive tackle.
Boring.
With paint under his eyes.
It's not always paint. Sometimes they use stickers.
Okay.
Few questionable drug allegations.
Do you know what I would like to see? You know how Liberty Formula One are taking this sort of more personality-driven approach to Formula One, much like we had at the US Grand Prix. The introductions, singular introductions, bit out there, but very American. I would quite like to see Brendan Hartley doing a hacker before he got into the car. It will probably be the least intimidating hacker you've ever seen.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, but if you're carrying that on to the fullest extent, then Lewis Hamilton would have to do some kind of Morris dance.
Probably.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel that he as far as the Kiwi goes, you can't properly pull a hacker off if you're on the white side of the fence.
There's a lot of white rugby players who play for New Zealand who do it.
They
very
are, however,
well.
built like rugby players,
no,
and I
yeah.
think that makes it a bit more intimidating.
That's what I mean. Brendan Hartley looks like he's an extra out of Fallout Boy.
But in your head, when you think hacker, you see the Maori-looking fucker at the front of it, don't you?
Yeah, the big guys.
Yeah. That's the one you
Not
think
the skinny
of.
Formula One driver.
No.
The blonde hair. Yeah.
Can we do top threes?
Yeah, let's do a top three. I think with Mercedes putting that new engine in Hamilton's car in Brazil, it's kind of difficult to see it going any other way.
Unless Mercedes strategise Bottas to a win just to give him, well done, have a participation trophy.
Well, if it's 1-2 and they ask Lewis to switch it, I mean it would be pretty shit. But he knows how to slow down in Abu Dhabi, doesn't he? So
That is true.
Who knows? Maybe second will be enough for Bottas for a change. But
I don't think it will be. I think if Vettel goes out, drops out the points, drops out the race, Mercedes will then give Bottas the win because that'll give him second in the championship.
Well, not if he finishes second anyway.
No.
How far ahead is Vettel now?
22.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So Bottas needs a win and Vettel not to score for Mercedes 1-2 in the championship. So this is why I'm thinking if Ferrari it up, then Mercedes will give Bottas the win so that they will get.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It's dependent as well on Bottas getting himself close enough to.
I also think you're going to forget one massive thing about Lewis giving victories away. Like we said last week, Lewis has Schumacher's records in his eyes, and he knows he can't do that by being nice to his teammate.
Yeah.
Schumacher didn't win. Didn't win 91 races because when he'd won the championship, he started gifting a couple to Barrichello.
He only gifted the one, and that was by accident.
He gifted the one, and after that, pulling them onto the top step to thank him was good enough.
Which was heavily fined.
Absolutely. But yeah, I just can't see it, and I don't know. I think Mercedes value Bottas enough.
I think we're in with a chance of the opposite of last year, where Mercedes will try and give Bottas the win, tell Lewis to slow down, and he'll speed up.
No, they won't sacrifice the team.
No. I don't think Bottas will be anywhere near, purely because
Lewis is better.
And Ferrari's other driver, who isn't Sebastian Vettel, is also pretty handy round Abu Dhabi.
And better than Bottas.
Do you know what? Raikkonen, Vettel and Hamilton, I think, have taken all of the wins at Abu Dhabi.
Rosberg has one, I think, 2015, because he won like the last 5 races, didn't he, of 2015?
That's quite right, yeah. So Rosberg... So all but one...
I think if Vettel has 3, Hamilton has 3, Rosberg has 1, and Raikkonen has 1, I think.
Virtual stat chart.
Yeah.
When Dan told me he was going on holiday, I thought I better actually try and pay a vague bit of attention.
Well, Hamilton won in 2016 and 2014, and I think, did he win the 2011?
2011.
He won his last one with McLaren, I think.
Yes.
And then Vettel won 2009, 2010...
And 2013.
Raikkonen was 2012 and
Yes.
Rosberg's was 2015.
And talking of Raikkonen winning in 2012, God, we got that monumentally wrong last week with saying Kimi's last win was in 2009.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yes. We do get things wrong.
Yeah,
it does happen.
I'd drunk a lot the previous weekend and I was the one looking at the stats.
Well, the thing is, doing this podcast, and I'm sure listeners can appreciate, we say things sometimes, and they all sit there and go, no, that's wrong. Much in the same way as we might be watching TV, and the professionals who actually get paid to do it for a job will say something, and we go, no, that's wrong. The thing is, the professionals have it all there on screens in front of them. We're trying to recall it from memory.
Or a crappy internet connection.
Yeah, exactly. It's
but yes,
we get things wrong, and we're sorry when we do. And we're, as I said in the past, I'm quite happy to be corrected. I don't mind.
Yeah. So no, Kimi's last win was the 2013 Australian Grand Prix.
Yes.
Moving back, you're saying that Hamilton, Rosberg, and Vettel are the three drivers that are currently on the grid that have won all the races
Raikkonen
between
and Vettel.
Hamilton, Rosberg, and
Not Rosberg.
Hamilton,
No
Vettel,
Rosberg.
and Raikkonen. Oh.
See,
I've
we
even
get
confused
things
myself.
wrong.
The one Mercedes driver.
For yourselves.
I'm trying to, just badly. The Mercedes driver and the two Ferrari drivers are the drivers on the grid that have won all the races.
Yes.
The drivers currently on the grid that have got wins there. I think that's going to be the top three.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Hamilton, Raikkonen, Vettel.
Because I'm saying Mercedes will try and strategise a win for Bottas, but it only becomes a thing. And
No.
It only becomes a thing
It
and
depends on
important.
Bottas being in the top two.
If Bottas is in the top two and Vettel's not in the top 10.
I want Raikkonen to win.
So
but I
that
don't
he
think
has to have
will.
the non-alcoholic fizzy.
Yeah.
Have you got a hero and villain for us?
Kimi Raikkonen hero for just being Kimi Raikkonen.
Not for slipping a hip flask inside his boot and then drinking that instead of the alcohol-free
Villain Renault in all their gloriousness.
All of Renault.
Could suffer as bad a Grand Prix as Mexico, where 4 out of their 6 powered cars didn't finish the race. Could be a similar fate. Now, said that, you watch Red Bull finish 1-2.
Hero and villain for me. Hero, I'm gonna say Fernando because I think he can scrape something out of it.
Yeah.
And
It's the end of a McLaren Honda era as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Remember how excited we were about McLaren Honda being a thing again? Fuck me, I can't wait for it to end.
Yeah.
villain Hasegawa-san, because if and when Fernando gets points in the last race for McLaren Honda, he will make some kind of statement about we were making progress and they've just shat on us.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but what about the last 3 years? Plus, it's one final chance to say Honda will be the villain and fuck things up somehow.
Yeah, possibly.
I think for Hero, I am going to go for Sainz on the basis that that car actually holds together, because Renault are still chasing in the championship, and if he can get a good result, that could...
It's awfully close, isn't it?
It is.
And it's amazing how that car's working
It
constantly
is, isn't it?
since
It's funny
Palmer
how
left
that's... It's
it.
funny how that's happened. So
To be
I'm
fair,
gonna go for him.
Hulkenberg's hasn't.
No.
Maybe they did swap cars.
So yeah, I think I'm going to go for Sainz for a good result for Hero. For Villain, I'm going to go for Marcus Ericsson. Not just generally, obviously, but specifically because Sauber have not named their driver lineup yet, and he might think, oh, I need to do something special to make sure I still have my seat.
Like,
and,
get points and then get it wrong.
and then end up just wiping half the field
But
out.
then he'll do something special.
Special! Yes.
I'm going to... top 3, Hamilton, Vettel, Kimi.
Should just switching my second and
yeah,
third round.
I
Yeah.
haven't done a top 3 yet, but yeah, I would agree with that.
Only because Ferrari won't allow Vettel to be ahead of Seb for the last race.
I don't think it'll matter if Bottas is behind. I don't think it'll matter to
No.
them.
Are Ferrari going to strategise Raikkonen up to a higher position than Vettel, because he can still take 4th if he outscores Ricciardo by 7 points?
No, because none of that matters to Ferrari. They're only interested in Drivers' World Championships. They're not even interested in the fucking constructors, really.
To quote Enzo Ferrari, I don't care what the cars look like. I want the driver to put his foot down and shit his pants.
Yeah. It's working well. Working well. Hero, I think you're right. I'm going to go Fernando Alonso. I'm going to put my Fernando Alonso podium bet on again.
Podium bet?
Oh, I always put a fiver on Alonso to get a podium. I have done all year.
You know you can always tell Lee's bookmaker when you're in town. He's the one with 5 cars.
Yeah.
You know that McLaren that we've all seen on the roads around
Paid
here?
for by Lee's bets.
5 cars, and his jacket is actually like a live polar bear.
Tamed and drugged
It
up.
just walks around him and cuddles him.
He owns 950 of the private jets registered over here.
The other 25 are Lewis Hamilton's.
Villain, I'm going to agree with
Not
Sean
true. Just going to say that.
and go for the bank manager briefcase wanker, Marcus Ericsson.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Top 3, have you done top 3 yet, Sean?
I agree with Lee on the top 3. Hamilton, Vettel, Raikkonen.
Kimi.
Yeah, that's mine as well.
Oh wow, so I'm the only one differing slightly by going Kimi ahead of Vettel.
Other questions.
So it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2 with a Renault on the podium.
No, if your bet's for anything to go by, it'll be Verstappen, Alonso, Sainz.
Verline in 4th. Other question. Is Lance Stroll going to outscore Felipe Massa?
I hope so.
There's 2 points in it. We said before that this is an ideal circuit for him.
Yeah, point is point and squirt.
Yeah, point, squirt, brake, turn.
Tell you what,
Rinse and repeat.
Doesn't that show that Felipe Massa's season has been a lot worse than we first thought?
No, I think it means Lance Stroll's has been better than
No, I
than we
don't.
first
I think if Massa was doing his job, he would have been well ahead of him.
Early season, yeah. Late season, not so much. Lance Stroll's improved a lot.
I think it was the
But
plan,
no,
wasn't it?
certain
Massa was there to
races-
get the points while
Yeah.
Stroll learned what he
But
was
in
doing. But
certain races, he's been ahead, but I think they've both been fucking far down.
No, Williams have completely underimpressed this season.
Yeah.
And I think that makes Stroll's performance all the more impressive, because coming in as a complete rookie who shat the bed in his first practice session in testing, and we all thought, oh God, what is he doing out there? Try moving your dad's wallet to the front of the car for extra ballast. He's proved that, all right, he's not consistent over a season, but that's gonna come with time, and at least he's in a good position to learn from.
Yeah, did we compare...
Because he knows where he's strong and he knows where he's weak, so he's just got to improve on the weaknesses.
Did we compare him with Michael Andretti earlier on in the season?
I think we might have done.
I didn't. But
because Michael Andretti was really not Mario Andretti.
He was barely Luigi Andretti.
Yeah.
he's too up and down because.
That's what I said. He's lacked consistency, but it's something that he's got. It's something that he's got to learn. He's got to be capable of learning. He's learning how to. I read a couple of articles that have said he struggles with the balance on the rear of the car. When that's right for him, that's when he does a lot better.
He also doesn't understand a lot of things. Remember him saying his brakes were too cold in Monaco, and it turned out they were too hot, and he didn't know how to heat them. And I explained how you heat your brakes in a car before it was then repeated on the television.
He's been having private tests in Formula 1 cars for 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
test isn't the same as a race, though, isn't it? It's not the same.
No, but
stress.
to understand what's going on in the car. And didn't we say that
something stuck to the tyre?
Didn't we say that his
private guts of the tyre?
Didn't we say that his private simulator is better than the Williams one?
Yes. Somebody said that within Williams.
Yeah.
Well, here, right. Lance Stroll in numbers. Australia, DNF. Canada, DNF. Bahrain, DNF. Russia, 11th. Spain, 16th. Monaco, DNF. Canada, 9th, which was not a bad race. I'll give him Canada.
Was that the one where Lewis gave him a pity thumbs up when he lapped him?
Yeah. Azerbaijan, 3rd. That's 3rd because the rest of the field exploded. Austria, 10th. Great Britain, 16th. Hungary, 14th. Belgium, 11th. Italy, 7th. Singapore 8th, Malaysia 8th. So he strung 3 point scoring finishes there together, which was pretty good.
Okay, now compare that with Massa.
Yeah.
And
Japan DNF, United States 11th, Mexico 6th, Brazil 16th. But do you see what I mean here though? It's like just outside the points, in the middle of the points, fucking 16th.
Yeah, but that's just Williams for you as well, isn't it? It's not just Lance Stroll, that's just a Williams car for you as well.
Well,
this
let's
year.
see if Massa's positions were closer to each other, if he was more consistent.
okay, Australia 6th, China 14th, Bahrain 6th, Russia 9th, Spain 13th, Monaco 9th, Canada and Azerbaijan retired, Austria 9th, Britain 10, Hungary didn't race, Belgium 8th, Italy 8th, Singapore 11th, Malaysia 9th, Japan 10, USA 9, Mexico 11,
So-
Brazil
It's a
7.
bit
He's been
closer.
Consistent.
He's been hanging around
the points.
Yeah, he's been hanging around towards the end of the points.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that Massa's had a bad season and Stroll's had a really good one. Stroll had that third place finish in
That's the only
Azerbaijan.
reason he's there.
But he's improved over the course of the season. Do you remember how much we were beating on him towards the beginning of the season? Like after those first couple of practice sessions, we were like, oh god, he's going to be in the wall. He's going to, like I said before, he's going to be like Michael Andretti. He's going to find a way.
We were going to replace the past disaster predictor with Willie Stroll into a wall.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Does it not, like, see, my problem with it is the fact that, like, Williams, although have had 2 bad years, like, by Williams standards, bad years, they're still one of the most established teams on the grid, and I think we'll hopefully next year, especially with Paddy Lowe on board,
Yeah.
we'll get back to their rightful position as a permanent point scorer.
Yeah, Paddy Lowe took some people as well from
Upper-
Mercedes
yeah,
and
upper mid-grid
old
team.
McLaren people as well.
Podium scorers,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Do you not find it disheartening that Lance Stroll has essentially almost bought himself an indefinite seat in one of the top 4 or 5 teams in Formula One, and at very best, when you see that man, he is going to be a mediocre Formula One driver to the point, mediocre to back end of the list of Formula One drivers.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a great world champion or anything.
No.
He's possibility of, say, given the right car, podiums, probably, but not. I wouldn't go any further than that at this moment in time. There's nothing to say, 5 years down the line, if he's still in Formula One, he couldn't, be looking like quite a consistent race winner.
But I think you can. Well, I think you can tell. I'm yet to see. I think I'm yet to see anyway. A Formula One driver come in to Formula One that's looked weak from the word go. That's turned it around
and stuck around in Formula One
and become a successful Formula One driver.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before, haven't we? Somebody who's come in and looked weak and then made a success out of it. I think Ball's only one he could throw in was Damon Hill.
That was bad cars. Maybe, Fisichella.
Yeah.
He was terrible at first.
Yeah.
And got himself up to the position of...
No, but the difference is at least Fisichella was like Grosjean to a certain extent, where he was crashy, but he was really fast.
As I've said before, we used to call him Fisichella's off again.
Yeah. But Massa was the same as that. He was a bit of a crash kid. Vettel was fucking ramming it off the road all over the place when he first came into Formula One.
As was Michael Schumacher.
But you could still see that inherent speed in those people, whereas you don't see it in Stroll. He looks like a mid-grid Formula 2 driver that's never going to make it to Formula 1, but he has the bank balance to do it. And that, I just find it a little disheartening.
It's disheartening when you look at actual talent that's further down than him.
I wouldn't even mind if he was in a Sauber or even a Force India. It's the fact that
he's in a Williams.
And I know Force India are ahead of Williams, blah blah blah, and they built a better car this year. But again, it's
less establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't get the historic winners bonus and all
No.
that sort of shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it crap that he looks like he can have this year. I mean, I'm sure he'll get better.
Just think if Heinz-Harald Frentzen had been better, Force India would get a historic winners bonus.
There is that.
Yeah. But I can't help thinking that he can have another 3-4 rubbish years
And just be where he is now.
And that could be why he never improves, because the worry isn't there. You know, that immediacy of I'm going to get sacked.
He's the new Jarno Trulli.
Yeah. Oh, the only thing he's got to worry about is them turning the team around, because all of a sudden, if they turn the team around and start building good cars, and it might get to the point where it's, well, the team's perfectly fucking good on its own, we've got advertising all over it, we don't need a pay driver, we want 2 actual proper drivers in the team. But
maybe, looking at it in kind of the same way, if it's a choice between having Lance Stroll for a few years or there not being a Williams, what would you rather?
Oh no, of course, I would rather them take that financial decision to do that. But I don't believe Williams are in that position. I do, you know, when you look at some of the other teams that have managed to get by in Formula One, I don't believe Williams are in that strap position, just simply because of the Williams technology that's used within Formula One, you know, that other teams are paying them for.
Yeah.
It's not like they haven't got revenue that comes into the team. It's not like they're a profitable company.
Yeah, but their budget is approximately 100 million less than what Ferrari put into the Formula One
which is
team.
probably about 50 million more than Force India.
Possibly.
So the problem is the fact it's not the money isn't the problem. It's what they're doing with their money.
It's being smarter with it, isn't it?
I think Martin Brundle summed it up perfectly the other week when he was talking about budget caps during the race, and he did reference Force India, and he said it turns out that under a modest budget you can still produce an excellent race car.
Yeah.
But Williams
And as soon as Force India sorted their weight problem out this year, it turned out to be a really good race car.
Yeah.
And if Red Bull and Renault have the problems carrying over into next season, top 3 for Force India?
Maybe.
Sauber need to sort their weight problems out. Start with Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah. No, that's not a weight problem, that's a dead weight problem. Do we think this is going to be Ericsson's last race?
Yes.
I said think, not hope.
It depends how much they need the money, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, he
think-
is a bit of a stroll. He's got that much backing, and his backers are in the team that much.
I wouldn't rule it out that Ferrari over the winter make that a second team and stick
with Leclerc and
Giovinazzi.
And it won't be Sauber, it'll be Alfa Romeo.
I don't think that'll happen next year, but I don't write that off as being the future of Sauber.
Yeah, or they badge the engines as Alfa Romeos.
Yeah.
Because Ferrari have had that Alfa Romeo on them for a few seasons now.
I think if that was going to happen, we'd have known when they signed the deal.
Again, it depends on what Sauber and Fred Vasseur decide as you know their final driver lineup. Fred Vasseur has said that Pascal Wehrlein hasn't driven himself out of a seat yet either, because you know he's put in some strong performances, but it's so hard to tell when you're in a car that, let's be honest, is not a racing car when you look at where the rest of the field are.
It's a making up the numbers car.
Yeah, and if they're 14th and 15th, give it a couple of laps, they're soon 18th and 19th out of 19 runners.
Yeah. So definitely the last race for Massa.
Yeah, last race of the 2017 season. Am I the only one who thinks it's absolutely flown by?
It does feel like it's
It
come up quick.
really has. It doesn't seem like 10 minutes since I was getting up at 4 in the morning.
For the Australian race.
Although getting up at 4 in the morning for the Australian qualifying blog after our dishwasher had flooded the kitchen.
Yeah, that was
at
unpleasant.
midnight the night before.
Shocker.
Oh, that was a fun weekend.
And just in the middle of all of that as well, I seem to recall that was around about the time Sauber decided to announce, Wehrlein's not doing this race because his back's shit.
Yeah, good point. No,
The kitchen's flooded.
He did do Australia, didn't he? Oh no,
He did. I think he practiced, and then
practiced.
they were
He
like,
practiced and then actually I'm more injured than
I thought
I was, and we took the piss, and then all the pictures of him in the full body cast came out. It's like, oh, maybe he really did get hurt in the
I'm
race of
surprised
champions.
Alonso hasn't had to do that this season.
What, get hurt?
No, considering he's carried fucking McLaren and Honda on his back for the last 4 years.
He's used to it. He was carrying Ferrari for the few before that.
Yeah, big. I still like to reference that cartoon of Alonso stood over a finish line, dragging the. I think it was like a dead black horse over. Wonderful cartoon. I can't remember who drew it, but it's a great cartoon.
Well, we'll be doing the race blog as 2/3, well, 3/4 of usual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Dan won't be around on Sunday.
Yep.
Because he gets back Sunday. So me and Chris will be doing the live stuff. Sean will be acting as sort of general spotter and keeping an eye on times and things.
And coffee making.
Lee will be in the pub or with his dad drinking.
I'll be doing... No, I watch at home.
And over the winter, we'll come up with some. See if we can come up with any new ideas of how to improve the how we cover races.
Yeah,
So
but I'll be doing the qualifying blog as well, not to forget.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have any ideas, get them into us.
Yeah, let us know how we can improve your race day experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, tweet me because I'm on Twitter reading stuff when
We know that watching Formula One, especially if you're the only one of your friends who likes Formula One, or you haven't got many friends who likes Formula One, it's difficult to go out there and talk to others about Formula One.
If you've got no friends, don't, because you're probably dead weird.
If you're the only one in the family who goes off, finds themselves in the spare bedroom, watching Formula One on a Sunday on a tiny TV because no one else will watch it because they're too busy watching some Western, something like that. Then
Still show Westerns on Sunday afternoon?
I have no
Do
idea.
people not even have now a decent sized TV as a second TV?
Probably.
Not a little tiny.
Probably. I'm just putting it out there. I'm trying to make people feel sorry for themselves.
Okay.
I was going to say, because our spare TV is bigger than the first TV that I owned that was in the living room in my flat.
Well, there you go. So, but that was like 4 BC.
Yeah. And it wasn't a TV. It was cave paintings.
So
Come here while I hit you.
no matter how much you jump around looking at that painting, it's not moving.
Bit like a Sauber then.
Yeah.
So yeah, get in touch. Especially on race days. We are out and about on social media. We're doing build up to the races as well. More like a community fan sort of thing rather than media coverage. But we still do the live race blogs, and we try and involve people's tweets and stuff that we get throughout the race as well.
Yeah, tweet us anytime during the race weekend at 3 Legs 4 Wheels.
I'm at a total shunt.
I'm at.
How are you spelling that one?
Go on, Lee. You were going to say something else, and I interrupted you.
I just said I'm usually on Twitter and stuff like that during the race and qualifying. So just give us a tweet.
Thanks for allowing me to put my teeth back in.
Also, if you're bored when you're not doing that, go and listen to Must See Audio, my other podcast.
Plug.
Yep.
Now that I put my teeth back in, I'm at Flood21.
And I'm at Sean Cowper.
And I'm at Pablo100, and Dan is, of course, at Danbert.
He is.
Drop us an email if you want at 3legs4wheels@gmail.com.
It's nice that Twitter let you drop the BC after your Twitter handle, isn't it?
Pablo100 BC. So yeah, as I say, we're around and about on race days and all the time, really, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, we're fairly friendly on social media.
Let's move along and finish the
Lee's
podcast.
there as
Yeah.
well. Right, Chris, get the guitar.
Is it that time already?
It's that time
Can
already.
you pass that to me, please, Lee? I haven't prepared a song, so I want to go for the standard.
Well, it's kind of become the theme tune as you've used it more weeks than you haven't.
Can we have a gentle one?
Yeah, hang on, let me put that down.
Enter Shuntman.
No, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. Total shunt. Everybody is a total shunt. Lee asks questions, gives some clues. The rest of us try to work it out. Look out. Here comes total shunt.
It's amazing that guitar never seems to go out of tune.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
that would rely on it having been in tune at some point.
It's true. You can't go out of fashion if you've never been in fashion. Same with tunings.
I was out of fashion before.
Very,
it was
very
cool.
profound. So who sent this week's in?
This is by Aaron Bradley.
Hi, Aaron.
Well,
I think this is the first time. Yeah.
First time shunter, long time listener, first time shunter.
Long time listener.
Thanks, Aaron. Let's see if you can.
I was
defeat us.
born
Correct way of starting.
in 1959.
1959. So, Paul, how many years ago was that? 58 years. 58 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
My career began in 1977.
Yeah.
40 years ago.
Yeah. Aged 18.
Yes.
That's so we're probably looking at a driver.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it would probably be a driver.
Who started in the late 70s as a career.
Yeah.
I won my first race at the 1986 Spanish Grand Prix.
Oh, so who won the 1986 Spanish Grand Prix?
A 29-year-old.
I'd like a guess.
1986 Spanish Grand Prix.
I must point out that's not. It doesn't. I don't know who this person is, so, and that doesn't specify Formula One, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I'm just
No, not necessarily. No.
But it would be about the right age. It'd be about 28, 29 to win your first race, which back then's about right.
59 and winning a race in 86. Yeah, that'd be 27.
Wasn't the youngest driver back then about 40?
Yeah, they all had the fine moustache and all that shit.
Yeah. Michele Alboreto.
Oh.
That's a good. Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Are you
Michele
going with
Alboreto.
him as a guess?
First guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first guess,
sounds
Michele
good.
Alboreto.
I have completed. No, I have competed in multiple forms of motorsport.
Okay, a lot
That's
of
fairly
people
standard,
have.
yeah.
I'd never driven a car until my F1 debut. Pastor Maldonado.
Lance Stroll.
See, I think some of these questions, if you can just if you happen to know one of them, and there's no real way for me to make them tricky because there isn't enough details, you'll just get it.
I think that's the idea.
That's the game.
I always think the clues are better when they're slightly cryptic.
When they're obscure.
Yeah. I became world champion in 1987. But again, it doesn't specify the series.
No. Well, 87 Formula 1 world champion was Nelson Piquet.
Correct. I think.
Yeah.
He.
88 was Senna's first year, wasn't it?
But I don't think it's Nelson Piquet.
No.
I don't think he's talking about Formula 1 World Championship.
Possibly not. But that's just my go-to, because that's what I tend to know more about than anything else. Even myself.
Who was big in bikes round about then?
Barry Sheen. No, earlier than that,
was a
wasn't
little late for Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Sheen was world champion in 77.
Yeah.
You could say the sheen had gone off by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he usually did round about turn 3 in every other race.
What about Carl Fogarty? Wasn't he about world champion around about
I
87?
He was more 90s.
Yeah,
Fogarty
Fogarty was 90s.
Yeah.
Cause it was he was racing in the TT in sort of 91, 92, wasn't he?
Yeah, good point.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
In 1994, I formed my own racing team and secured Coca-Cola as a major sponsor. I believe I want to guess after that as well.
Do you know what? I reckon this could be someone who did a bit of Formula 1 and other series, and it's probably going to be like an IndyCar driver, because Coca-Cola seem to be only interested in sponsoring US series, US-based cars.
Eddie Cheever, will he have won the Spanish Grand Prix in 86? That's a bit late, isn't it, for Eddie Cheever?
How old is Mr. Haas?
Gene Haas.
Yes.
Pick a year, there's a Haas for it, I think.
Yeah, that's got potential.
It's like Andretti's.
They're like buses. There'll be another one along in a minute.
What was it?
They're actually their own measuring system.
Newman Haas Racing wasn't anything to do with Gene Haas.
No,
though,
that was Carl Haas.
Yeah.
I think their main sponsor was Target. Thinking back to 93 with Mansell.
Well, Kmart, wasn't it? Kmart and Texaco.
It was. I remember because I had the scale extra. Get closer. People shout at me for being too far away from the mic sometimes.
Which I was about to do.
Yeah. Do people shout at you on social media for that?
Yeah.
I'm watching your graph and you were flatlining.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
You're talking is my fucking interest. Now let's move on.
We need a guess.
Carl Haas?
Carl Haas?
Spanish Grand Prix could have... first win was at the Spanish Grand Prix. Could have been in a support race.
I don't know. I'm thinking somebody who I think it's a mildly successful Formula One driver who then went on to try their own thing and failed miserably.
Emerson Fittipaldi? But
No,
he's
he-
older than that.
Yeah, and he won his first race a lot earlier than the '86 Spanish Grand Prix.
Eddie Jordan. He was mildly successful in Formula One, then went on to fail miserably.
Yeah.
Just at life.
Wrong sponsor, he had 7-Up.
Let's just go Carl Haas. We don't know who it is.
Yeah.
I competed in the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Is that like Le Mans?
Oh, in 1998. Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg. He's won it every year.
In 1998.
He's won it every year that it's been that it's been held.
He
on his own.
has won all of
The
the Le Mans.
Hulkenberg Cup.
1998. Could be anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not great on the retro Le Mans.
It could be Thierry Boutsen.
But his own team?
Don't know.
Yeah, that's the one that's thrown.
There's an interesting fact about Thierry Boutsen, which hopefully, if it is him, it will come up later.
He's half a beatbox.
He is. If he was being followed by a driver called Carl,
Eric Katz.
Yeah, Eric Katz, Boots and Cats. Yeah. Please tell me that was a racing team name.
I competed in the Japanese GT Championship in 1996 to 2002.
Alongside Ralph Furman then from the other week.
Yeah. That was so close. I almost deleted the Total Shrimp before we'd finished it.
Controls. Oh, it's a Mac.
It's also Twitter.
Ah.
Japanese drivers? I can't possibly. Again, it doesn't have to be a Japanese driver, I suppose. But
Satoru Nakajima.
did he win
I
a
don't
race?
think he's that old though, is he? Or is he?
Hang on, Nakajima did drive for Lotus, and they were winning races in the mid '80s.
Possibly, yeah.
But I don't. He wouldn't have won in Spain around that time.
Isn't Kobayashi like the highest finishing Japanese driver ever though with his podium in Japan?
Was he fourth?
So probably third.
Third, he got a podium.
Yeah.
And then they named a stand in his honour.
Was that the year when he managed to get past people by merely driving into them?
Yeah, people just got out of his way out of fear.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, here he comes.
Small tree.
Shrub.
No, I've still got nothing on that. Next clue.
I took pole position in the 2000 FAI.
FIA, probably.
That's what I'd have thought.
The Irish
Football
Football
Association of Ireland.
Bathurst 1000.
Oh no, it might be FAI because that's Australia.
Oh, it's upside down there.
Well, yeah, fucking autosport, innit?
So yeah, sorry. It's strange. Upside down F, A, upside down I.
Upside down I remember that.
It's spelt with a silent 3.
What colour is the letter 7?
Potato.
Do you know what? I was only thinking this the other day. I've always thought the Y in dyslexic is a fucking... It's shit, isn't it? What a cock move that is.
I mean, who made it really hard to spell anyway?
And why is there only one word for thesaurus?
Next clue, I think we still don't know who it is, do we?
So we're probably looking at somebody Aussie.
I'm still trying to work
Could
out
be
what dinosaurs
Australian
do.
drivers during
Possibly.
the 80s.
Alan
Jones?
He was world champion in 1980,
Yes.
so he would have won a race before 86.
That's true.
Was there a Brabham? David Brabham
David
was later,
Brabham?
wasn't he?
Brabham.
Was he later than that? And he never won a race in Formula 1, if I remember
I
rightly.
don't think he did. So probably not somebody Aussie. Unless he won a F2 or...
Not looking at someone like...
The British Truck Championship used to be the main support series for Formula 1 back in the 70s and early 80s. Or the European Truck Championship.
Yeah, was it? We're not looking at someone like Riccardo Patrese or someone like that. He wouldn't have started his own... I'm thinking along the same lines as like Michele Alboreto.
Yeah, it's the starting his own team.
Yeah, that's...
But that could be any driver that's ever raced. You know, because you always find these people like... Mark Webber has technically got his own team, hasn't he? But it's an F2 team that he's involved with.
Yeah, let's move. Next clue. Is there one clue
Last
left?
clue.
Yeah, go on then.
Last clue. I have a strait named after me in my home country. I've just noticed that underneath the end of the questions, Aaron's put, this might be a toughie.
Bertrand Kemmel, the famous Belgian.
Is that really him?
I don't know.
Alright, okay. I thought they just used to keep those dogs there.
That wonderful British driver.
Stephen Hanger.
Yep. Tom Wellington.
Went on to have a successful career as a garment manufacturer.
The American one, Garrison, I nicked this bit from Sepang.
If we're going back to Australians, all of Phillip Island is named, all the corners, all the bits of that are named after people.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
The only person I could think maybe would be the right age who has a bit named after him would be Mick Doohan.
Doohan Strait, perhaps.
I don't know if it's a Doohan Strait, it's a Doohan
He's had a team. Sure,
Probably has, yeah.
Sure he's had a
he's
team.
fingers in
I
pies,
saw
isn't he?
Mick Doohan when he came over here as well. I didn't say hello to him. He's a lot shorter than I thought he was going to be. He was with Nicky Hayden when Nicky Hayden came over as well.
It's kind of an all-star stalking.
Oh no, they walked past me. I was stood still.
Oh, they were stalking you.
Yeah.
I think you're closest, Sean.
That's a best guess.
Yeah.
I have no further wisdom.
Do you want to throw it out there?
Yeah, go for
Go
it.
on then.
Whatever.
Are you Mick Doohan?
I'm not Mick Doohan. I'm Wayne Gardner.
Stunned silence around the room.
Left-hand Googling.
I've got it here because I have no fucking idea who he is.
He's a bikist.
He's a bikist.
From one of the most Australian named places ever.
Yeah.
Is it one of those?
Wollongong.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was gonna say one of those Aborigine names. It's sort of
That's
slightly
near
shortened.
Sydney, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
He's done lots of the bike race and stuff.
That was a
Oh, we
tough
got that
one.
it was an Aussie biker.
You were far and away the closest.
We're absolutely shite when it comes to two wheels, aren't we?
That's why we're 3 legs, 4
Four
wheels,
wheels,
not 3
yeah.
legs, 2 wheels.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
We fell within the
Yeah.
rules, and
beat us.
you beat us. So that's fair enough.
Yeah. Right, quick update on Formula Lee. For those that need reminding, it is Abu Dhabi in a Mercedes in the dry.
Thank you. I need a reminding.
Points at the moment, you're looking at anything round about low 139s, I would say. And if Nick Patakis and Joseph Heilman are listening, which I bloody hope they are, seeing as the regular listeners, you two are actually dead level at the minute.
Ooh, so to avoid a tie situation again, you need to make sure that one of them goes faster than the other.
Although the slow Greek is actually the classified as the faster of the two because he put his time in first.
Well, there you go.
So
He's not slow anymore, you know. He's got his own autosport team.
Yeah, we're going to have to start calling him the Greek.
Yeah, the fast Greek.
So yeah, both of you two set a faster time. There's less maths.
I haven't even had a go yet. Have you had a go yet, Lee?
Couple.
Yeah, I'm winning out of the ones of us that have put in so far, but I'm sure that won't change.
It might do.
Yeah, it probably will. A couple of emails. William Blank. That is his surname. I've not redacted anything.
I was going to say.
Yeah, William Blank, email address redacted at yahoo.com. Hi guys, I'm a new listener in the colonies. He's from York, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say, is he fucking time traveller?
Good evening, Doctor.
Yeah, William from York in Pennsylvania, the wrong York, not the one that I'm from. I can almost decipher after 3 weeks about half of what you say.
Oh, amazing. So he's a new listener.
Yeah.
So he lives in York and he can't handle York.
Just send a message asking how that prospecting's going.
No, it's Pennsylvania. They make bells there or something, or cheesesteaks.
Right.
That's Philadelphia, which is...
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So it's a York cheesesteak.
They
then,
gave
maybe.
Tom Hanks AIDS.
I would like to welcome William along as a new listener. I do apologise if our diction has not been perfect at times.
He continues, I've been an F1 fan since the 60s.
Oh, amazing.
Older than me, so can it with the old jokes.
Said he's a time traveller, mate. There's no reason why he's older than you.
When my dad's trucking company
He got
transported...
there through technology. You got there through patience.
I'd punch you in the face if it wasn't past my bedtime.
It's alright, I've got a couple of holics here. Just to calm you down if you get close.
Anyway,
I am
onwards with
continuing.
William's email.
Been an F1 fan since the 60s when my dad's trucking company transported the early Honda team from Kennedy Airport to the Watkins Glen circuit, about 20 miles from where we used to live. While I never saw US Grand Prix, I saw lots of Can-Am and SCCA events there.
Cool.
Anyway, as an engineer, I have a compulsion for categorising things in a logical manner, so I came up with the following suggested tyre classification system.
Yes.
Are you a hoot?
No, this sounds amazing.
Now, this is going back to the Pirelli are going to have 8 tyre compounds next season with different names. A, always hard. B, basically hard. C, comparatively hard. D, deceptively hard.
This sounds like me from the age of 13 to 19.
This sounds like emergency phone calls you make if it's been more than 4 hours since you had the little blue pill. Deceptively hard.
Yeah, what tyre compound are you?
There's more. E, effaciously hard. F, flaccidly hard.
That is
Not
an
cool if you
oxymoron.
are flaccidly hard.
G, gelatinously hard. And H, hardly hard.
What's it like
I mean,
being
it's not
hardly-
more confusing than what we've got at the minute, really. Is it?
Yeah,
To be
I mean,
fair,
that-
it makes
that-
about as much sense.
That makes more sense than what Pirelli have come out with. Yeah, William, you're winning at the minute.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful email. Thanks for that, William.
That is definite email of the week.
Absolutely.
Jonathan Mills has written in, do you think F1 needs to stop making half steps and instead of the halo go to something more advanced like a fully closed cockpit? Yes!
We were
He's
saying that.
clearly never listened to another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, we've been saying that for a long time now.
Every other word I fucking say on this seems to be half step.
Hardly half.
It's like some sort of fucking dance sometimes.
Yeah, that one's going to run all next season when the Halos go on the
I think
cars.
there've been more
It's gonna-
mutterings from various teams in the last week or so about what a ball ache it is trying to get them to
Fit.
work with the car.
Yeah, to bolt on and bolt off
to
quite
actually
easily.
get them
Yeah,
fitted and
yeah, because
That's fucking amazing. When you see the back of Hamilton's car next year, that fucking picture of Jesus is actually going to have a halo over it.
yeah.
I never thought of it like that.
And also the camera views. If you think about the top camera view as well, you're not going to see like the top of the driver's helmets, but you're just going to see this sort of like split wishbone sort of shape, aren't they, going down into the nose cone?
I wonder if we'll see like designs on the halo.
Well,
like you'll be able to
they
sort of
thought about
extend
this.
your helmet design.
Because
into
I think it was McLaren who actually came up with the idea of
It was that Pete Bull guy, not Pete, but People's a listener.
People's a listener, Sean Bull.
Sure, the graphic design
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, he mocked up a load of Formula One cars where all the drivers had the helmet colours on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alonso's McLaren with
Crazy.
with the sort of blue and the yellow and red on the halo. Looked great, instantly recognisable without even seeing the helmet. That's Fernando Alonso.
No, you'll be able to tell Lewis because his Halo will have gold chains hanging off it. It'll just have I Heart Roscoe sprayed up the side.
Well, that's the thing. They're thinking of making them like even thinner, aren't they? Like ridiculously thin. So they'll still deflect a wheel, for example, or a large bit of debris if it's coming towards you, but it's going to be ridiculously thin. So that they may just be singular color, so that one driver's got like. Do you remember in the days when was it the Ferraris used to be able to differentiate them by the fluorescent yellow and fluorescent orange that were on the tops of the cars? Similar to that, a fluorescent yellow and a fluorescent orange, halo, just depending on which driver is which.
Because the shark fins are going next season, so you won't have the big lettering.
Well, no, they've still got to have that. They've got to find space for it.
The top should light up. The top should light up whenever they're using this push to pass shenanigans come.
LEDs,
Yeah.
Like the
wipeout.
like the IndyCar.
Yeah, they have that in IndyCar, don't they?
With
It flashes
the
up on
LED
the side.
displays on the sides of the cars.
Yeah,
It shows
it's
the
the
position and
numbers in it.
the pit stop times.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the best ideas that's been put into a motorsport in God knows how long.
Yeah, which I believe Anthony Hamilton was pushing for in Formula One, and was ridiculed for it, and IndyCar
To be
have
fair, that
gone
was
with
probably just because it was Anthony Hamilton.
it. Well, maybe, but I mean, IndyCar have gone with it, and it works.
Yeah.
I don't know why we wouldn't even consider it for Formula One. It's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely. Right, we'll be back next week with our last race review of 2017.
Are we feeling sad yet?
I'll probably feel sad when we've finished recording next week. Although we'll be back every week during the winter break.
Of course, yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going to stop during the winter break. There's too much to speculate on.
We've got nothing else to do.
We'll have a special review podcast.
We might even do the 3 Legs 4 Wheels Awards that we were going to do last season. Then Nico Rosberg decided to retire and just threw our complete winter schedule out.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to give Nico Rosberg an award.
And we did have the New Year quiz as well.
I'd forgotten about the New Year quiz.
Yeah, I'll have to come up with some more questions.
Yes, definitely.
Quizmaster.
If you want to get in touch, we told you how to do it earlier. Email 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, Twitter @3legs4wheels, and you can find everybody's own Twitter handles on there. Just to get a plug in for the other podcast that we do, the weekly Patreon show, where if you donate anything upwards from $1 a month to us to keep the podcast ticking over, keeps us in biscuits and mic cables. Do an extra show about half an hour every week, and we talk about anything and everything, but not Formula One.
No.
Try not to, anyway.
Try not to talk about Formula One. There was a little bit of F1 video games in there tonight.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, throughout the winter, if you've got ideas about how we can improve things for you, let us know. Worst we can do is look at your email and go, nah.
We'll probably do that.
You do that with everything, even work ones.
No, absolutely. Like, if I'm not judging it, I'm not looking at it.
You judge everything. We'll be back next week. Sean may be with us next week, depending on when Dan gets back from
Being a secret agent.
his mission, should he choose to accept it. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.